Fraser, it is Scottish Championship week here on Joga Bonito. I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, this will be a big one.
This is our bread and butter. This is what we're made for. Scottish Championship talk. It's gonna get quite geeky. I think this one. We're gonna go quite in depth, probably on two teams more than any other.
Yes, well, maybe we've both kind of become big fans of another club, based on their
watching them play
good football.
Their team, certainly. Maybe you say club, you know.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe clubs a bit.
Yeah. So maybe we'll go in harder on three teams than others.
Yes.
And by harder, I mean in
more in depth. Well, it depends how well your team's doing. We'll see. We'll see on that one. Yeah. So Fraser, how are you doing this week? You well?
Not bad. Yeah, not bad. It's a lovely sunny day here in Dunbartonshire.
East Dunbartonshire.
Yeah,
I believe.
A little region of Scotland.
Yes,
Callum.
It is the region of Scotland, which is going to be one of our challenges coming up later on. A little preview there. I like that. Yeah. One player born in Mulgai that's sort of done anything. Do you know who it is?
I do. Yeah, Greg Docherty.
Greg Docherty.
It's actually not true.
Oh,
there's another one.
Oh, is there?
There's another one, and it's either.
It's not you, is it?
We're going back along.
Okay.
No, unfortunately not. If we're going back a lot further, it's either. I think it's Murdo MacLeod. You know Murdo?
I don't know Murdo MacLeod. I'm sorry.
Sorry, this is not. This
is when we need a researcher in the corner on the podcast.
Let me just do this quickly, just for.
You ever seen like Joe Rogan and stuff like that, and they shout at the producer over in the corner, and I'm like, Google this, Jamie or something.
The Wi-Fi's terrible in this part of the manor.
This part of Mulgai.
in the West Wing.
Well, we'll come back to Murdo Mackay in just a second then. So Fraser, I want to start this week off before we jump in. We're going to jump into the news. There's been quite a bit going on this week, as there always seems to be in Scottish football. Yep. Before we're going to go in and rank every single Scottish Championship team for a few challenges, a couple bits of house cleaning to do, I suppose. We've got to clean the house up before we get going. Yeah. Firstly, well, I'm wearing a Chicago Bulls sort of jersey today. You just given up on the internet there, Fraser. Audio listeners. Fraser just slammed his computer down. I'm wearing Chicago Bulls jersey today because the NBA came back this week.
Yeah.
That sort of occupies me if I'm ever up late at night, and I can't sleep. I'll get the NBA on, so that always sends me to sleep.
A bit of a night owl, aren't you, Callum?
It can be at times. Depends on the occasion. I do good work when the night time comes though.
You do, yeah. So. That was how I used to work at uni as well.
Sorry, I just bashed your wall there, sorry.
Getting up early was never... Or I could get up early, but I wouldn't get in a groove until... It would always be 11 o'clock at night.
I know, we have been sat here for a couple of hours since before we started recording this podcast, for example. But procrastination brings out some of the best work, doesn't it?
There was no procrastinating. We were just ironing out.
I was procrastinating a little bit. But anyway, Chicago Bulls basketball is back, which is always exciting. I fell asleep last night to Cleveland Cavaliers against New York Knicks. That was always good. So.
Skin in the game?
Not particularly, no. I quite like Cleveland.
Not a Cavs fan.
I like the Cavs, yeah. Sort of like when I really got into the NBA with LeBron James was, getting his stuff done there, but he's long gone. But I do like the Cavs. So I wanted them to win. They were down by about 15 points in the fourth quarter, and that's my cue to go to sleep. This is late enough now. So there's that. But that's not the T-shirt we're here to give a mention to. Fraser.
That is not.
The people watching right now, they're lucky enough to see the T-shirt you're wearing, both on the wall behind you and on you, because we've got two of them.
Yeah.
I'd say give us a spin, but you don't need to. Tell us what you're wearing.
Look at this. Hopefully, you can. I'm sure you can pick out the image in the back there. That's Lewis Ferguson.
That is
of Bologna and Lanarkshire.
Yes.
And we were very kindly gifted these two T-shirts from EH Retro Kits.
EH Retro Kits, yeah.
So thank you very much. Shout out to them. I think the guy was called Fraser.
I believe he was, which is always confusing when I'm saying me and Fraser are very thankful, Fraser. But yes, he did send these across as well as a little gift package. I thought he was sending one, so we were gonna flip a coin for the shirt. We've got two, so mine's on the wall, yours is on your person.
So it says Laura Di Fergie.
Have you actually translated that? I feel really bad that I've not translated. That should be the first thing I've done.
It must be.
But a stunning design.
Fergie time, Fergie hour.
Obviously, we've Derek Ferguson's been on the podcast as well. Lewis Ferguson's father. So
we should really give him one of these tops. Reach out to him and say we've got. Because he had a cool one on.
He did have a cool.
What was it again?
It was like a Copper Italia Champions T-shirt he was wearing last time we saw him at the kitback event.
In it.
So yeah, EH Retro shirts, EH Retro kits, I should say. Sorry, they've got some really cool designs on there as well. Stuff like this. This one's still available for sale on their website. So suppose we should do. It's definitely Fergie's time. That's even cooler.
It is Fergie's time, yeah.
They've got a lovely Scott McTominay design as well. I think we were looking at that one. And, they've got a lot of nice designs, a lot of cool old retro kits as well, Scottish clubs. So go check them out.
Fraser from EH Retro Kits. If you're watching, we also really love the Scott McTominay. We really like that one. That's a brilliant T-shirt.
I'd love to wear that one.
Yeah, especially the medium size and large size as well.
Yeah, they're good. I've heard. Yeah.
No, I'm only joking, but we're very grateful. And they're lovely. It's nice fit as well. I didn't know whether it was just going to be a sort of
fashionable look these days, slightly oversized as well.
Yeah,
You're pulling it off.
Well, thank you very much.
Looking good.
Yeah, I need to maybe hit the gym a wee bit because I think it's just a tad big for me.
That's the fashion these days.
I quite like it. Well, I'll go through one wash and it'll be perfect.
Probably get you in a pair of cargos.
Don't get you in a pair.
You could be strutting your stuff soon.
That's true. But
so, looking fashionable.
Your story from losing your wallet everywhere you go.
I did. Yeah.
You've not sold cargos to me, Callum.
Yeah, I've got really shallow pockets on these new cargos I've got, and my wallet did unfortunately fall out at the Clockwork pub just outside Hampden after the last Scotland game. Called them up as soon as I got to Queen Street and they said, "Is this Callum?" I said, "Thank God," because they've got my wallet, so I picked it up. But you've got ones down here, loads of pockets in cargos. It's not an issue. So just get some with deeper pockets as well. We got this lovely coaster as well. Yeah.
I'm annoyed. I don't know why I didn't bring it down. I've got my other coaster, and then we've got the stickers as well, and the key rings.
And the key rings.
So we've got some cool merch from EH Retro Kits, and they're doing well.
Yeah, so we'll
smashing the retro kit business.
We'll put their link in the description for this as well. So go check them out if you fancy it. So big thanks to them for these lovely kits as well.
Well, I just bring this down. I feel like it's above the radiator there, so it's very warm.
Just in case you can.
Just I don't know what is that actually. You've got Fergie, and Fergie, and then a big Coppa Italia and a small.
It's got a lovely sort of tartan.
So it's nice, subtle tartan print there. Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, gorgeous. Available on their website, I believe.
Yes,
very nice.
Yes, it is. So I think that's most of the housekeeping. I said house cleaning earlier on, didn't I? I was referring to housekeeping, obviously. So most of the housekeeping done.
One more thing, sorry. I see you're wearing your MND badge.
Oh, I'm wearing my MND Scotland badge. Good spot there, yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Been meaning to wear that for a while. We got gifted that when we were at the event at Hampden, weren't we? So at the start of the season, so I thought I'd just put that on.
I rate it.
Good weather they get up with as well. So yeah
great. House clean.
House is clean. Fraser, I think it's time to run the intro.
Let's do it.
You're a long way from home. This is Brazil.
McFadden scores for Scotland. The afternoon belongs to Lewis Vaughan. Make it 3. It's 3-0.
So Fraser, you got your research in there whilst the intro was running. Tell us about Big Murdo then, quickly.
Big Murdo is formal guy, yeah. Don't know too much. It's him, Joe Swinson, Greg Docherty.
And you.
And
yeah.
Hopefully one day I'll be on Wikipedia, like first guy to discover life on Mars or something. Fraser Gordon.
Life on Mars. You never know. If that's what you're going for, you've got a chance. That would make the news, but we've certainly got 3 news articles to come up here then. Well, news topics, points of discussion to come up this week, and as we do on anytime a manager moves jobs in the SPFL, we'll mention it. Now, we're a podcast that don't focus too much on the old firm, and I think just about everywhere I've looked this week, it's been dominated with mostly puns of Danny Roll's name. I'm a bit tired of that now, sort of rock and roll, or roll with it. Or,
his dad's sausage will be so proud and all that.
That's quite good. I've not seen that one actually.
No, I've not either.
Did you just come up with that?
I did actually.
That's quite good. I'm pleasantly surprised by that one. That's quite a good pattern from you there. So the son of Sausage, Danny. There's been a million puns. Rock and roll star. Roll with it. Something to do rolling over. I don't know. We're not doing that.
They've done that already.
They've done that. Everyone's done that. So right, we'll just jump into that quickly then. So obviously, this podcast we are recording on Thursday afternoon. Rangers will be playing in Europe pretty soon. So there'll be a bit more context to what Danny Roll's Rangers team might look like, certainly in an early stage. So we probably haven't got too much to say. This will probably come out on Friday. Just initial reaction, though, to the news that Danny Roll is the new Rangers manager.
Wild.
Or head coach.
Yeah, is it head coach rather than...
I'm not sure what was put technically. He is a head coach type, I believe. So.
Yeah. I think it's a good appointment.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good appointment. What a saga that was.
Yeah.
Every time I went on my phone,
The hokey pokey man. The hokey pokey Rangers managers.
Pulls out from the Rangers running. Then it was sort of Steven Gerrard, then Danny Roll, then Kevin Muscat, then back to Danny Roll again. And it was apparently because he didn't have enough time to prepare for the game on Saturday. So I don't know if that's why he pulled out. Anyway, that's irrelevant now. He's the manager, and I think he's had a lot of high profile people in the game, commenting on his tactics and his coaching style.
Being a good coach, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he'll do good things. He obviously, I think if you were to look at, and which we've been guilty of in the past with Barry Ferguson, etc., looking at the sort of win rate and percentage and things and judging a manager and their credentials based off of that, if you were to look at his stats so far, probably not amazing, but I think there's sort of extenuating factors, especially in the Sheffield Wednesday job, where I think he was kind of fighting a losing battle and he did well despite of that. So I think he'll be a good manager. He clearly, he commands a bit of respect in the footballing world. I think he was Hansi Flick's assistant, a right hand man. So he's clearly he's worked under some big names. And yeah, I think Rangers fans would just be happy to have someone to steer the ship again.
Yeah, I mean, anything to the battle of his hairline. Did you see the picture of that on social media?
I did.
If he's got that sort of fight in him, then he's got a chance.
It's tastefully done. Or whether or not he just started eating fish again, or something, I don't know.
Fish,
what
new shampoo, L'Oreal. I'm not sponsored. To me, I do think I'd worry for him. I think he looks, by all accounts, what you hear from players coming out saying he was a brilliant coach, that kind of thing. A good sign, and for his sake, I hope he goes on to have a really good career, as a manager, and you heard good things from Sheffield Wednesday. I do feel like the Rangers job's one where you need someone in charge that's really got the right control, and he's going to be in the hot seat straight away. I think he's first impressions have been quite good. You know what it's like with a club like Rangers. He turned up in a suit, and Rangers fans love that kind of thing. They generally do. So he seemed to speak quite well his first press conference. I do hope he gets that patience he probably deserves, but that's not what Glasgow football's about. Yeah. It's not what it's about. He's obviously came in and said the right things, a bit more than Russell Martin did something to start off with, which is going to help his case. But I thought Kevin Muscat might be the shout for it, just a big personality manager that's got that track record just to come in where he's not going to have fans on his back, because you can see it's a tough start for Rangers. They've got a European tie against Brann, and then I think they've got Hibs and Hearts coming up, I believe, possibly. Yeah. I might be wrong on that. That might actually be Aberdeen's schedule. I've just rolled off there. But obviously before long they'll have that game against Celtic as well next weekend in the semi-final of the Cup. So he's going to go in, and if results do go a bit bad, hopefully you don't see that pressure just pile on top of him for his sake, certainly. I've been in, I did my day's work experience of STV, as you did, and that day I was actually lucky enough to go in and watch a press conference just down the road from here, actually, the Rangers training ground. And it was different to see Clement in person, who was the manager at the time, come in for his press conference, and how they do have to deal with the press and be a big character. And he did feel like a big character on the day, and obviously things unravelled for Clement in the end. But someone that can just shut down the press, I think, is really important for a manager. Postecoglou came in, did that immediately. Steven Gerrard, that was probably one of his best things he did, was just control the narrative around things, whilst other managers who came in and sort of just let it happen, probably, take that narrative away. So if Danny Roll could do that, that's probably the question. Rangers have looked at it, obviously, and thought the way that the football clubs are going is that it's a bit more head coach role. That's, I'm someone with Arsenal leanings, for example, myself as well. You've seen the process really work at Arsenal, but I don't think you've got the time in Glasgow. So question marks. It's probably not the direction I thought Rangers should or would go in. There's been plenty of discussion about it already, so we'll just see how that goes, eh? Yeah. If there's anything you want to add, or?
Well, I actually think it's possibly the best time ever for Danny Roll to come into the Rangers job, because the expectations are at an all-time low, probably.
Possibly, yeah.
And I think Rangers fans were just so fed up with Russell Martin that to have anybody else, which I think is unfair. Cause
I know what you mean.
I thought Russell Martin should have been good, given more time, and I thought he had potential to be good, but he wasn't popular amongst the Rangers fans. So potentially, I hear what you're saying about needing, like, he's maybe not what you thought Rangers should be going for, but if they're ever going to do it, now is the time, I guess, because he'll actually probably have a little bit more time from Rangers fans, because they'll think anything.
Yeah.
If he wins any of his next like 3 or 4 league matches, then he'll already have done probably better than Russell Martin has done. So I think he'll be afforded a little bit more leeway. And also, I do think I think the process of hiring Russell Martin and someone a bit different to what the Rangers fans always shout for, it's got to be a Rangers man, it's got to be someone who knows Scottish football, it's got to be all this. Like, that's just, I get it, and on some occasions, like, you obviously need people around the manager, the head coach that know the club, but I don't think it's essential that the head coach or the manager is, so.
Yeah.
I actually quite like the fact that they've gone away from, they wanted Kevin Muscat and they wanted Steven Gerrard, and both would have been good appointments, I'm sure, but the fact that they've gone for someone who's new, fresh, he's got clearly a good footballing and tactical CV, so I think it's actually probably the right option for them. So we'll see how it goes. But
for what you say there, just to finish on it as well, to be honest, I don't know a huge amount about the infrastructure at Rangers, because quite simply I don't care. I've been making about 19 pages of notes on Scottish Championship clubs. I'm too busy to look at the structure of what Kevin Thelwell does and his son now being appointed. I don't really know how it is. You're saying it might be the best time to do it. I think that infrastructure around everything at the club needs to be in place for a head coach to really work. So if it is or not, we'll wait and see on that.
Yeah.
And
interesting. It always is interesting, I guess, in Glasgow. So interesting to see which way it goes. I'll be entertained either way, I think.
It's been box office so far. So
exactly.
Do you want to take us on to news topic number 2?
Yes, it took me a wee second to remember it there.
There.
Need my Graham Norton show, like
cue cards.
But yes, the news this week in League One is that Hamilton have been deducted some more points after their season was almost kind of ruined for the same punishment last season. They've now been deducted more points in both League One and the KDM Challenge Cup.
I feel they're probably more bothered about the League One.
Potentially, yeah. Which is a bit of a shame. It's just a sorry state of affairs for Hamilton. Really, they've just beginning to get ahead of steam again in the league, making really good progress, and then they've been sort of suckered again. However, they've been rightfully deducted points. I think the allegations against them are not fantastic. So, but it's just a shame. Hamilton fans have not had a good time of it of late. And yeah, football's coming second for them at the moment, but it's not catastrophic, and it won't impact their season too terribly, hopefully, for them. But they have gone down from first to sixth?
First to sixth. So yeah, Hamilton have been deducted 6 points from their League One campaign so far, which had been really good. There were points of Steny at the top of the league, which drops them down now. Steny got a little cushion at the top now. Good for them where they are. But yeah, it's certainly a shame to be here, like, just talking about Hamilton again, like another issue. And to be honest, you probably feel like this isn't going to be the only thing that comes up this season. There's probably going to be other things. The whole issue that came up, now there's probably only so much we can say, because I mean you're the lawyer of the podcast. Yeah. You're the law perspective.
Yes.
So listeners don't know, Fraser does have a degree in law.
Legal counsel.
So if I need to, you are my counsel right now. If I say anything too far and I need to shut up, you tell me. Because I guess they put it to an appeal. But the whole thing did seem really strange, in my opinion. This is pure speculation, that they had players playing on trial that were meant to get signed by the club, then they get put under embargo and they're still at the club, still playing for them, and you're thinking, are these players playing for free? It seems a bit odd. Players coming up from England on amateur contracts to come and play, and now the SPFL have ruled that these players were actually getting paid, which I don't know, but pure speculation, you're guessing. It seems a bit strange, the whole thing, that players would come up and play for free for Hamilton Accies. So concerning for them, concerning for the fans, I do feel really bad for them. I was shout out to Connor Ferguson, who's a really good videographer. He does stuff for Hamilton. He's a Dunfermline fan as well, so I was chatting to him before the Dunfermline game because he was filming there as well, and he was just saying the stuff that does go on at the club as well. Like he didn't throw anyone under the bus or say too much far, but he was just saying like the job. We're talking about John Rankin actually, and he was just saying the job that John Rankin's done to keep the club just going along, keep the players happy. They obviously want to play for him as well. They respect him a lot. From a manager that was under a lot of pressure, probably from the fans, probably over things such as tactics, use of timings of substitutions. You kind of get to a point with a football club where you're like, actually, who really cares when all he's doing is keeping the club going? And you know what, performances and results have been really good as well. So credit to him for that. That's testament to him and the hard work that he's been putting in with his team. But you're saying what John Rankin does as a manager is probably beyond what most managers should be doing just to keep a team functioning and actually getting the opportunity to go out and play. So shout out to them, to John Rankin and his team, the Hamilton fans that start with their team as well, because it must be difficult as well. And it just seems that they've got a real, as we already knew, it's nothing new to say, is that Jerry Strain at the top of the club has been doing a horrible job. That's all you can say. That's the only thing to say.
Yeah.
So hopefully it comes to a resolution at some point, sooner rather than later, but you do feel there could be more issues just coming down the line at some point. That's probably my bet on Hamilton. So
yeah, it doesn't look great, but they've got a good squad, and hopefully the players can put on a good show for them and their fans this season who've been taken through the mill. But yeah,
I can imagine what it's like to be a Hamilton player though, and you put in that hard work and you get results, and then bang, you've lost 6 points, and they're probably they might lose another points deduction at some point. We spoke to Aaron about how the Edinburgh City players have galvanised from that. So maybe Hamilton players can do a similar thing. But
yeah, at least I guess for Edinburgh City, they were deducted 15 points, but it was done at the start of the season, so they knew what they needed to do from the start of the season. Hamilton, I mean, I've seen Hamilton fans gloating after the Inverness game where they were taking a screenshot of the top two teams in the league and saying, like this if your team's in this picture. And a lot of Inverness fans obviously are not buzzing about that. And it's backfired, and it's not because of anything they've done on the pitch, it's because of what's going on behind the scenes. So, but I guess listen, if you've got to act within the rules of the game, and if they're not doing that, then they should be punished. But it's just a shame. It's a shame for the fans who are having to get buses out to Cumbernauld every week and to watch their team. But yeah, it's not over yet, and 6 points is
maybe
not,
they should
certainly not the be all and end.
Deduct everyone in League One 5 points. Make it a fair.
Exactly.
Inverness have lost it. Hamilton have lost it.
Exactly.
Just dock everyone.
Cove Rangers are the champions on 3 points.
My goodness, yeah, that'd be quite a sight to see. Right, final bit of news. Then we're going to cover. There has been one other managerial departure this week, but we're going to come on to that. Of course, we're going to come on to that in more depth than any of these others. Final piece of news to do. Something to look forward to a little bit more as well. It's the Scottish Cup this weekend. You didn't even know that, Fraser. I was gutting. I said to you, right, should we look ahead to a Scottish Cup tie each? And you said,
nah,
it's the Scottish Cup this weekend.
You're misremembering that.
So
you're totally. That's a lie.
Am I? Is it a lie?
Was the camera rolling?
No, that didn't happen. No,
I'm joking. Yeah, no, I'm disappointed to say, but I'm so focused on the championship.
Got your dates muddled there.
Yeah,
but we've both picked out one tie to look ahead to, one that we think's one to look forward to. It should be a good match. Should I start off with my one?
Fire away, Callum.
So I'm looking at one that could be a potential upset, and I've gone for Musselburgh against Forfar.
Lovely. Take it away.
You got any questions?
Well, yes. Why do you think that's going to be an upset? I know, obviously, you have seen Musselburgh in the flesh, Callum. So
I have. So
I take it that's born from seeing them up close and personal.
So Musselburgh had a really good run last season in the Scottish Cup themselves as well, which ended away to Hamilton Accies. So that was a run to be proud of for them. They were the champions of the East of Scotland Premier last season. Lost their playoff. It was a bit like an all-star playoff, really, between them and Clydebank. No shame in losing to Clydebank. Certainly, the quality they had last season, Musselburgh would have been a team worthy of promotion to the Lowland League, and they'll be in the Lowland League East next season as well. Once the divisions split, no matter what. So playing for a league title this season, not promotion. They're third in the league. They're 1 point off. I think Tunefield Swifts are top. East of Scotland Premiership. Then the Haws are second. Beef.
The who? Sorry.
The Haws.
The Haws.
Haws.
Oh.
Hellabeath Hawthorn, yeah.
I'm glad. I thought there was maybe an R in there somewhere.
No, the Haws. Your gaffer's local team?
Oh yeah,
Scott Brown's
Yeah,
local team,
yeah.
Hawthorn. Aye. Hill Beath.
I was thinking of my gaffer from work there. I was like, how do you know him?
I don't know, it could be. I'm not too sure. Scott Brown, I'm referring to, of course. So Musselburgh sitting third, 1 point off top. They've got a really good team. Last season, I was working with the Caledonian Braves. Still, we went down to play Musselburgh in the cup. The Braves went 1-0 up. Musselburgh went down to 10 men. You're probably thinking, right, nice, easy progression through here for the Braves. Musselburgh really did turn it up at that point.
Yeah.
I think from a Braves perspective, obviously I'm a bit biased. The Braves had the quality in the team to see that tie through, perhaps, but fair play to Musselburgh. They did battle. Johnny Court scored 2 goals on the day to see them through in that tie. But the main thing that really took me back is Musselburgh's support on the day. The fans in the town all really got behind the team, and it's tight to the pitch, old-fashioned. They used everything to their advantage. Unfortunately, the game was sort of marred by and I'm happy to say it because it's not the kind of thing that I'd ever condone. It was the captain of Musselburgh. I don't actually have his name, but he broke the finger of Ryan Murray. You might remember Raves have a 19-year-old midfielder who's known for his long throws, and he went up and just snapped it in half, which was horrible to see. And I'll say that because he was proven guilty of doing it, and he got I think it was a 10-match ban in the end, which was not too much said about that. Not something you'd ever condone in football. And that was a real sort of sour taste that came out from that match. But Musselburgh did have a lot of battle and fight in that game. The rest of their other 10 players on the pitch walked off with plenty of respect from me as well for what they ended up doing. So went on a good run last year. Forfar has the looks of a tie that Musselburgh's going to be right up for it. They're not going to give Forfar an easy game, who have had a mix of season so far in League Two. They've got the quality to win that game. They could turn up and do it, but Musselburgh, they're going to make it a battle. It's going to be tough. I think that's got the looks of a really good game, and hopefully Musselburgh all the fans get behind their team again. It could be a big crowd down for that one. And you know what? I'd actually go as far as say I think I'm going to tip Musselburgh for the win in that one.
You're going for it.
Yeah.
You're going for it. Just a quick quiz for you here, Callum. Musselburgh fall into the very unique bracket alongside Hamilton and Ayr. Can you tell me why? Now, if you're listening, watching, there might be more. This is just off the top of my head, so this is not researched at all. But if you can find a link between those.
It's something to do with race courses?
One of few towns in Scotland to have both a club and a race course. There may be more.
There you go.
But there should be a wee Hamilton Ayr and Musselburgh game. They should play an annual sort of like the home nations when they used to play the internationals.
If you want to organise that,
they should do it at Musselburgh Racecourse one year.
You just want to win a trophy, don't you? You're just desperate for any trophy Ayr United can win.
The Racecourse trophy. Yeah.
The Racecourse National 2026 champions, Ayr United. Congratulations.
I reckon Ayr.
Stick that in your trophy cabinet.
Musselburgh to beat Ayr in the final.
Right.
Maybe if there's any others, let us know in the comments. But,
let us know. Yeah. Nice place, Musselburgh. I was there just last week.
Oh, were you?
My friend Ross, who's just had a baby Finn.
Is that right?
Shout out to baby Finn and Ross and Emily. We had a nice little walk around Musselburgh. He hadn't been out of the house really too much since the baby was born, so dragged him out, showed him the sights of Musselburgh. Well, he knows them more than me.
Take him a lap of the racecourse.
We didn't do the race course. Walked down the sort of like nice river that goes down the middle. It's probably a very famous river. I don't know what it is, but
that's Godfather worthy behaviour actually, Callum.
Yes.
Ross, if you're watching, just saying.
Oh, I thought you meant like the movie. Right. Right. What's the tie you've picked out for us, Fraser?
So I obviously there's so many good ones.
There was a lot,
out, Callum, but I've gone for obvious reasons. The Braves versus Stirling Albion.
Yeah, that does have the looks of another really good tie. So we've got a Lowland League team, I should say, up against Stirling Albion. Two clubs I know quite well. Fraser, how do you see this one going?
If I'm being honest, I think Stirling will probably nick it. I think they're coming into a bit of form of late. The Braves have been patchy throughout the season. I think playing below what their level
possibly
could and should be with the players that they've got. However, and I know that kind of seems a bit crazy. Why have you picked a tie that you think that the favourite's going to win? But I would not be surprised if the Braves were to pull off an upset in this one. They've got the quality to do it. Stirling clearly have the lack of quality to sort of capitulate a little bit.
The inconsistencies maybe in the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would keep an eye on this. The Braves are just they've threatened to really go on a run in one of the cups. They've won silverware in the South Challenge Cup in recent years, so they know how to win these ties. Maybe not
these
the
ties,
quality
no.
of
Stirling, like Stranraer reserves and stuff.
Yeah. But I think they'll be really disappointed. They'll be smarting from last year, as you said, against Musselburgh. I was really excited for that tie. I thought, it was an away fixture, but Braves were the favourites going into it, probably.
Not a huge man, but
the league
two
above,
teams top of the leagues.
Braves are in good form, and I thought this was a fantastic opportunity for them to really go, and they could have got a big tie in would it have been the third round of the Scottish Cup last year?
Yeah.
So they'll be disappointed. Ricky obviously was disappointed as a Braves manager. I think they'll come into this one, they'll be really smelling blood. And whilst they've sort of been a bit inconsistent in the Lowland League so far this season, I think they've got the players that can really hurt Stirling. And
so
it's a home tie for the Braves as well. So
technically, won't be out at Lions Park, which is still out of action. The council there. So
is it K Park then?
I think it'll be at Hamilton this one. At Hamilton, so still technically
Astro Park then. Yeah. So. Might work in the favour of the Braves, but it's an interesting one.
That's a bit of a jump there.
It's a bit of a jump.
Well, it's an Astro Park. You know what the Braves are like on Astro.
Well, they play on Astro. Stirling play on grass. I'm just trying to think of reasons to back up this as being a good title.
Well, you've not mentioned a lot of names that we both know quite well. You've got the likes of Cammy Bredner, Zach Butterworth, two electric wingers. Ross McNeil in the middle can score a goal. Don Mahan as well, they bought in from Albion, seemed to have had a good start to the season as well for the Braves, chipping in with a few goals. The Braves are also defensively solid. Their back line's always pretty strong with a core of players they've had for a few seasons now. Ricky Waddles also spoke, when, I guess I was going to say publicly in interviews. I'm talking about interviews that I actually did with him, so I've seen them myself, but they are out there to be seen that he is really keen for the club to have that run in the Scottish Cup that they've never really had. I think they've faced... I might be wrong here. I think they faced the League Two team once, might be in Elgin, but I might be wrong on that. I might be getting my wires crossed there. But they've never really had that run that I know, like Ricky would be desperate. He's desperate for the squad to get. He thinks they deserve. Musselburgh was gutting last season for the players. They beat Forest Mechanics last round away from home, which was a big win. So this does look like a good tie and could be a bit of a sort of a what do we call it?
Banana skin.
Banana
first or a cup set.
I was trying to remember what we accidentally called a banana peel slip or something like that. A shout back to like episode 15 or something like that there. Could be one that's a bit difficult for Stirling to get through. The Braves will be right up for it.
I think as well, and the Braves it's a unique club in Scotland, which, not to everyone's taste. But I think, Chris, the owner, and the media team there, they'll be looking at this, licking their lips. You loved it last season when you did your Scottish Cup video for the American owners and the fans. Like, to be able to market a run in the Scottish Cup for the global fan base that the Braves have would be fantastic for them. So I think they'll be really, really keen. There'll be a lot. Obviously, there's financial incentive for the Braves as well, but just for a club that young that's got ambition to really lay a marker down and beat a League Two outfit and progress in a cup would be fantastic. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one on Saturday and hoping that Cammy Bredner can rifle one in from 30 yards to put them through.
I don't know, my local team against my former employers.
It's a shame it's not in Stirling, because then you could just bounce down.
That would be
I suppose you'll be busy on Saturday.
I'll be busy on Saturday watching the Scottish Championship game. Should we jump into that?
Let's do it.
We're going to rate the season from 1 to 10 for every single team so far early doors. So, Fraser, a good place to start off is that we were along on Tuesday night at Partick Thistle against Ayr United. Fraser, I know you're sort of screwing your face together there as an Ayr United fan. We were in the away end, that was quite a fun experience for me. I've got to say, I've never sat in with the away fans of another club before. And you did ask me on the way out, like, is it different sitting with Ayr fans to Raith fans? And it was. Yeah. It was different. Not many Nick McAllister fans in there, I'm afraid, which actually we'll touch on. I wasn't the biggest fan of. We'll touch on the reasons for that in a second. But Ayr did lose the game 2-1. Ethan Walker had opened scoring in the first half with a nice finish, but Partick Thistle came flying out of the traps in the second half. Sosa scored to make it 1-0. And who scored the winner again?
Ben Stanley.
Ben Stanley with a lovely curling effort into the top corner.
It was.
Gave Thistle over the piece probably a well-earned 3 points. And is there one of those two teams you want to touch on first?
I think we kind of have to go with Partick Thistle, don't we?
We'll touch on Partick Thistle. So I think you've actually got both of these teams, don't you? As
Yeah.
two of your teams you've focused on. So we've split 5 and 5. So we'll start off with Thistle, equal points top of the league. Fraser, what have you given them a ranking out of 10?
Yeah, we've gone high. We've gone 9 out of 10.
You've gone for a 9, have you?
Um,
I can't. You can't really knock it at all there. And I think this week we saw what we liked about them. Fraser, what was the most impressive features you saw from Partick Thistle on Tuesday night?
Just clearly a well drilled like footballing team. I think it was clear from the teams that I've watched in the Championship this season that Partick Thistle arguably are the best, definitely alongside St Johnstone, one of the best footballing teams in the league. They're sharp, they're physically fit, and they're well drilled. Whatever Mark Wilson's doing and his coaching team are doing, it's good things. And they've got two, possibly the best player in the league so far this season as well, and Logan Chalmers, and they've just got quality. Their starting 11 is a really strong outfit. So really, if I wish I was a neutral, because I would have sat back and really enjoyed watching Partick Thistle the other night. I enjoyed watching them anyway because I do like just seeing good football. It was just a shame that they were giving Ayr a bit of a doing. Ayr were fine, Ayr were decent, and made it a right good contest. But Partick Thistle where Ayr looked good, Partick Thistle looked very good, I thought. So I think to be a Partick Thistle fan this season, especially considering what the consensus was back in sort of early August, mid-August actually.
An absolute disaster, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. 8th and 9th, I think. I've seen Thistle fans predicting, and now they've got a very, very real chance of winning the league. So, I think an exciting team. I will touch on it. I don't know if you want to jump in now. I do have one or two concerns about Partick Thistle, but I can let you come in if you want, and we can come to them in a wee minute.
Have you got a question you want to ask me? Go for it.
Just,
I'll see what you... I don't know what you're touching on there.
Yeah. Well, what were your thoughts? You were obviously looking at it as a neutral. We were sort of touching on some interesting things. What was the most interesting thing you saw from Partick Thistle?
The most interesting thing I saw?
I know for sure what the most interesting thing I saw, because I was unaware of this tactical tweak from Mark Wilson. But I was rubbing my eyes. We picked up on it quite quickly. I kept nudging you. That he was getting a lot of boos from the Ayr United fans at times.
You're talking about Paddy Redding inverting as a fullback, which probably wasn't on the
inverting
bucket
as a
list.
centre forward at times.
Yeah,
what was that all about?
It wasn't too high on my list. Yeah, I mean Paddy Redding, he's fine. He gets through games. No bother really. Paddy Redding's comfortable. He's fine. But he's not. Yeah, there's some electric players in that team. I wouldn't say Paddy Redding's one of them.
He's definitely not their best performing player, but he's a very good player. But the fact that Mark Wilson's got them set up so that Paddy Redding is coming inside playing like a more advanced Greg Taylor under Ange Postecoglou. It was crazy.
Yes.
Really interesting to watch.
And actually, something I was going to touch on, my one point on this one was going to be that it's so interesting seeing how he does set up his wingers as well. Have you not seen Thistle play in the flesh where constantly, it's probably something you don't even notice when you're watching like on the telly because you don't see the full length of the pitch, but constantly Aidan Fitzpatrick and Logan Chalmers couldn't be any further wide and making the pitch huge. The pitch is massive when they're playing their games. Everyone's spread out. Used to seeing lower league Scottish games, a lot of the time it can be condensed into one quadrant of the pitch at times. You can throw a blanket over everyone sometimes, but they really do make the pitch big, and that makes it difficult for their opposition if they're doing it right. 2 times now that I've seen Thistle play live in the flesh. I'll see them again on Saturday against the Rovers, which I'm a bit worried about because they did look really good. And both times, I was obviously sitting in the away Ayr end with you for that one, and before it was a Raith game, we lost 3-2, 2-0 down earlier on, made it 2, lost it 3-2 in the second half. I came away from both those games and thought, you know what, that was actually a really entertaining game of football between 2 quite good championship teams, but Thistle just looked a little bit better than both the teams on both occasions, and they do have that quality. And credit to Mark Wilson, as you've said, that took the lead at the end of the first half as Lee Ashcroft went off injured. Luke Macbeth came on, and Ayr had sort of been building a bit of momentum at the end of the first half. Ethan Walker took his goal really well. Jamie Murphy looked like, I don't want to sort of use this thing to discredit his teammates, but Jamie Murphy looked like the only one that was really making things click in the final third for Ayr on the day. Lovely slip ball in. Ethan Walker finished it off. Took a little nick of Josh Clark on its way in. Maybe just Thistle a little bit not quite comfortable. Luke Macbeth in there at that moment in time, and this could lead into my next question for you. But Mark Wilson changes at halftime, switches Tony Watt in, and that's the brilliance they've had this season. They've got 2 number 9s they can switch in and out rather than just, sort of Brian Graham option 1, and then plan B has always sort of been the option behind Brian Graham. Right, this season you've kind of got 1A and 1B with Samuels and Tony Watt as their 2 options up there. Tony Watt comes in, does a good job. He also switches Fitzpatrick and Chalmers on the wings. It took Logan Chalmers 20 seconds to beat Leon King down the left-hand side, put a brilliant ball in. And like Sosa, who is the man that is really impressed. And I think we've got a podcast coming up in a week or 2. I won't give too much away on that, where we'll probably speak about a player like Let Sosa quite a bit. So I won't touch on him for too long, but he was brilliant again. So quick, direct, gets the goal. Credit to Mark Wilson for very quickly making those changes, and just couldn't really deal with Thistle at the start of that second half. But the question I'm going to ask you now is that obviously the Ayr goal comes right after Lee Ashcroft comes off injured. Luke Macbeth comes in, a more than capable candidate coming. Luke Macbeth's someone that's seen the podcast as well, so we're not here to slag Luke Macbeth off at all, because I think he is a really good player. But the issue being, after that, especially if Lee Ashcroft's out for a bit of time, I'm not too sure what that injury was or what it will look like, but just a slight lack of depth that we are probably comparing them to St Johnstone now, that they probably don't have.
Yeah, and that is my concern. We've spoken about it a wee bit in depth, is that Partick Thistle starting 11, and also they've got 3 or 4 players beyond that are brilliant players that can come in, and Luke Macbeth isn't a big fall off from Lee Ashcroft.
Carl Turner's on the bench, Stephen Wallace is on the bench as well. It's quality, but depth.
Yeah, and that's where, Lee Ashcroft, the way he went off, I always think it's a wee bit more concerning when a player walks off, almost.
Than
if he
stretch it off or hobbled off. Okay.
I feel like if he'd kind of hobbled off, you'd think it's a knock.
But it could be muscular or something.
Yeah, and it might just take like a week of, might be a bit of bruising. The way he went down, he immediately did that signal to the bench, and then he walked off. It's almost like there's something in there that he knows that is sort of a longer lasting injury that, I don't know, but I would suggest, and seeing how he went off, that
if he's in tomorrow's starting lineup, then we've
aye, true. But yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about that. And then, so you've got Luke Macbeth, who's a very, very able, very good centre back replacement, but beyond that, Partick Thistle, they're lacking a little bit, and again, it was the issue towards the in the playoffs last season. It wasn't such an issue against Ayr away because they dispatched them comfortably in the end, but they were starting with a lot of youth players below 18 years old in the starting 11 and on the bench, and then that kind of told against Livingston in the semi-final. Lee Ashcroft again, I think he might have got injured in that tie, so it's just the same issues that were sort of arising towards the end of last season could arise at some point. Thistle also have conceded quite a number of goals, so they score, they're fantastic in attack, and their front sort of 7 players, I guess, across midfield and and attack are sublime, but whether or not they've just got the defensive solidity and the strength and depth at the back to compete with St Johnstone long term, I'm not so sure. But if I was a Thistle fan, I wouldn't even care, because the quality of their football is brilliant. I was saying to you, I just think in Ayr are really clearly a fit team and a well-drilled team, but the Thistle players just look sharper, just a little bit sharper. Like Anton Dowds was absolutely bombing when he came on. He was pressing. Once he gets his legs going, he's fast, he's quick, but he's just not sharp the way that Logan Chalmers can change direction in a flash. Fitzpatrick can go from 0 to 60. And
the 2 Ayr goals, Thistle goals really came from Ayr players not looking that sharp in possession. Yeah,
exactly. And Ayr players they are sharp. I think Thistle players, they just look more Premiership sharp. Okay. Whereas Ayr players look sort of Championship sharp, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the pace to the game was a really entertaining game, to be fair, and I could have got something out on another day, but you do say that Lee Ashcroft injury, I'll say that can derail a season. Do you remember Lee Ashcroft was a Raith Rovers player briefly?
Oh, yeah.
On loan, played 1 game and got injured. which was really actually, sort of joke about it because we never saw him play, but he could have. Raith really needed a centre back that season where they went for league with Dundee United. Played one game. I never saw him play in a Raith Rovers shirt. You did.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Somerset Park? It was one game and he went off injured in the first half. You were there that game, 2-0 to Raith.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it. So you can tell me all about Lee Ashcroft's heroics in a Raith Rovers shirt.
I'm racking my brain here. I can't remember it too vividly, but
I'm shocked you haven't completely remembered a Raith Rovers 2-0 win at Somerset Park. That's terrible from you. So Thistle did look really entertaining though, and just probably my last bit I'll touch on them is that we're in the Merchant pub afterwards with producer Jack. So shout out there, and we're having a couple pints, and you had a nice jacket on, sort of retro style jacket. A couple of Thistle fans spotted you from across the pub, so they came across and like, you guys Ayr fans? I was like, well, he is. And they had a very good question. We should get them on as sort of on the podcast to ask questions.
Yeah.
And to be fair to them as well, they'd sunk the pints. There were like 8 empty Stella Artois glasses on their table after the game. We'd had like one Asahi, I think, each. Or like we were on our second one, they like had 8. I was like, we've been put to shame here. They spoke pretty well though, despite that.
Yeah.
And they came across and said, if you've seen both teams play, do you think we're better or St Johnstone are better? I don't think you've seen St Johnstone in the flesh this season, have you?
No, not close enough.
I've seen them twice now, and I thought, that's actually a really good question. It kind of stumped me for a second when they did ask it, and
it felt a little bit loaded. It felt a little bit sort of, a leading question. The answer was...
They did seem really, excited, which I would be as well.
Say Thistle.
And they were like, we just want to hear them say Thistle. It is going to be a title race for me. I think we're going to have a title race in the Championship this season. I do. I said to them as well that I was trying to be nice now, but I was being honest completely. I think Thistle's the best team I've played. I've seen play, and St Johnstone were really good against Raith Stars Park. I'm not saying they weren't, but just seeing them in other games as well. They've started a little bit. This isn't going to be the St Johnstone chat. We're going to come on to that, of course. Thistle, deadly exciting, can beat anyone on their day. I think they play each other 22nd of November next month, which is going to be tasty. And I could see games like that. I could see Thistle maybe getting the better of them when the season gets, really you're getting to the depths of the season. When if you get an injury to Logan Chalmers, one of the 2 strikers, maybe obviously Lee Ashcroft picking up a knock here, Smith in midfield, someone like that. That's when it can get tough. That's when it becomes a battle. And I said to them that I could honestly, what I could see this season being a bit like is that season I just mentioned there with Raith Rovers, with Dundee United, and I said that to them as well. There was a point, I believe, Raith were 5 points clear at the top of the table. Getting into sort of that sort of end of the season where you really earn your money. But there was games in there where midweek games. I think we had a midweek game against Arbroath. We were 2-0 up and we lost at 3-2, and games like that where it was just when the season was getting really tough, really sticky. The quality of that Dundee United squad, possibly more than anything, really came through. So I could see it being a title race, and Thistle could be right in it. They will be right in it. Come the money end of the season. I think St Johnstone, for me, I'm still gonna give them my tip if I had to put a bit of money on it. I think you've got money on it, have you not? You do have money on it.
Not exclusively, which is terrible as an Ayr United fan, but
you got a wee. This was the start of the season.
A wee fourfolds.
Would you still be putting, if you redid that ACCA now, would you still have
100%? St
Johnstone?
I'll come on to that when you touch on St Johnstone.
But Thistle, entertaining. We love watching them play. Right, should we move on to our next team?
Go for it.
Should we stick in the other half of that game, or do you want to jump to one of my teams?
I reckon you should go for St Johnstone, maybe.
I think we'll come on to them. I think it would make sense now just to jump on.
I
think we should jump onto Ayr to finish off that midweek tie we just saw there. So what rating have you given Ayr United for their season thus far?
I'm going with a 7.
7,
which is a little step down from Partick Thistle. I think Ayr have had a good season. I think a 7 would be an A. In
just about
SQA standards.
B plus.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that in SQA. SQA.
So I think they've had a good season. They've certainly not tore up any trees. They had a sort of sticky start to the season, but there were reasons for that. I think Scott Brown talked about it. I think the fans were aware of that. Now that Ayr have come into a bit of form and they've got a strong squad, and it's less depleted than it was because players are coming back from injury. So I think 7 sort of is fair. I'm happy with how the season's gone. I think if you'd have said after we're a third of the way into the season now, if you said where do you think Ayr will be a third of the way in, I would have said third place, I think. So we're fourth. The surprise is maybe that Arbroath are ahead, but I think if you take into consideration the injuries that Ayr have had, and the fact that nobody has turned us over. They've been in every game so far this season. You could argue in some matches that they didn't get what they deserved. You could argue in some matches they got more than they deserved. So I think Ayr fans will be happy now. There's a guy on the Somerset Road end, Ayr United sort of Facebook page that for a period after every single game, there's the meme of the seagull and it's like throwing its head back, and he photoshopped it so it was, get Scott Brown out.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And he did that after every single, like even if it was just a draw. He's now stopped doing that. So I think using that as a gauge, Ayr season's going well. I'd love to see this guy. I wonder if he goes to the games, and he obviously goes to games. I don't know who he is, but it got to the stage where when Ayr started winning again, people were writing on the page saying, "Where's the seagull today?"
I know. Yeah. I'm gonna try and keep some online angry commenters. I'm not gonna try to speak about them too much when we get to Raith Rovers because you get so much of it. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It makes me think quickly. We were chatting with Lewis Gibson that day. We were in talking to Lewis Stevenson and Dylan Easton, of course, for Raith, and he told us a story about a guy that was giving him tons of abuse for leaving Queen of the South. You remember that? And Lewis Gibson, who's a brilliant player, having a great spell at Montrose at the minute, but it was when he left Queen of the South to come to Raith, a guy he's like giving him pelters on everything, calling him a snake and all that. He bumps into him in Tesco and he's being lovely. That's just how it goes, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's the football fans, and I suspect, I don't know if maybe somebody commented on that guy's one of the posts, like, are you a Rangers fan? He must have been like one of those sort of Rangers / Ayr fans who just hate Scott Brown's gut, because okay, there's been question marks over some of his decisions at times in the past 6 months, but at no point I think did he deserve to have his job in any doubt. So
I do agree. Yeah, I don't think I'm glad we did that episode not too long ago. So you messaged me and said, I'm gutted we did that episode where we did the managers with the most approved, and we said Scott Brown. But I'm glad we did because of the consensus we both agreed on. He deserves a chance to have his squad back fit. We never said he should get sacked. We're near getting sacked.
Exactly.
I do say this, and it doesn't mean he's prone to no criticism. I think some of the game management was a bit odd at parts on Tuesday night. Yeah. We're both big Marco Roos fans. As anyone that enjoys quality football, I think should be. He ended up sort of playing a sort of left wing back role for a while, and we're both there being like, what is going on right now? And then he moved him into number 10 and instantly spin, get a chance. And Mark McKenzie was played on goal and get a shot off. That's where Marco Roos should be. I do get there's a pragmatism that you do need to have as a manager, and you'll make these decisions, look at the opposition, but we just want to see some quality football getting played at times. But some match decisions, I was surprised. I know Carl Year's done quite well recently. Lost his place in the team. He's on international duty. I'm pretty sure that's the reason he dropped out of the team for Stuart Bannigan, who, for me, as a team, I've seen live against Raith twice now that we're into the second quarter of the season. First quarter, second quarter meeting were polar opposites, really, where neither games were like a scud or anything like that. But Raith went to Somerset Park and set up with a centre-back partnership. Nick McAllister, Liam Dick. If you don't know the two of them, they are both fullbacks. Yeah. Kind of fullbacks that aren't technically like superior, but both good in the air. For example, if you've got a bit of an aerial bombardment coming towards you, I'd probably rather have them at fullback than as other options. For example, probably not a centre-back though. They could handle the physical side of the game quite well, but technically not. Centre mids in front of them was Bonner, Ure and Mark McKenzie playing sort of a holding midfield role. And the game was completely different because I had constantly tried to play out from the back. Very different to when I then saw her at Stars Park 2 weeks ago, where Ayr turned up and turned Raith over, really. Deserved to win it 2-0. Could have been more. Really were the impressive team on the day. But that core of the team was completely different. It was obviously Leon King, Kevin Holt, Ben Dempsey, and Stuart Bannigan. Stuart Bannigan's dropped out the start lineup again, which for me is what I'm not really understood. Yeah, I don't know if Scott Brown's taken to him as a player on the pitch at times, but he just looked very comfortable in controlling the midfield. And Ben Dempsey, we've spoke about enough. Wax lyrical for him. He's probably my favourite like midfielder outside of Raith in the division. I think he can change the game really. He looked a bit rusty the other day. He's a lot of football he's played since he came back from a long-term injury, but overall, the difference he makes to the team as well. But Bannigan being a bit in and out of the team.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because we share a lot of views actually on how we see Aaron. I think this is where we disagree though, because, and I get what you're saying about Stuart Bannigan. I just think now that Ben Dempsey's there and back, and he's pretty much fully fit, I think Kyle Ure, I would start with Kyle Ure. I think he's a wee bit more mobile. He offers what Bannigan does. And listen, if Bannigan had started the other night, I'd have been quite happy with it as well. But I would choose Kyle Ure. He's just a little bit more. He's more youthful. He's a little bit more mobile. Stuart Bannigan's obviously very experienced, and I think I can see obviously your point, because the glaring mistake of the match was Kyle Ure's pass to Ben Stanley.
Give me some credit. I was saying before, I thought Bannigan should be on the pitch.
Yeah.
But
But take that away, and I know that's a big hypothetical, and Stuart Bannigan might never have done that. But take that away, I thought Kyle Ure was good. There was maybe one or two missed passes, but apart from that, that one glaring mistake aside, Kyle Ure is good. He's quick, he's physical.
It's less of a slight as well on Kyle Ure, just for the record. I know you're sort of defending him there.
Of course.
It's more the pros of like the calmness. I think Stuart Bannigan can. He does have a horrible tackle in him as well. Not over last season as well. Him crunching Jordan Doherty gets you down low on my list, I'll tell you that much. But
alongside, I just think
Ben Dempsey, a lot of pragmatism, that midfield.
So alongside that, Ben Dempsey's he's experienced, he's physical. He can maybe sit a bit deeper, like Kyle Ure, maybe go be a little bit more advanced if need be. But just I think maybe Scott Brown's looking at the Thistle squad and thinking, is Stuart Bannigan going to be able to keep up with like Sosa, Ben Stanway, Fitzpatrick, Chalmers if they're running at him, or is Kyle Ure going to be able to do that? And I can see why he's gone for more youthful energy and pace in midfield over Stuart Bannigan in that, because the Partick Thistle midfielders all the way across their midfield were just sharp, quick, and Stuart Bannigan he does look a little bit leggy when he's playing, and that's sometimes you look at Pirlo, barely moved, but he sort of would dictate the tempo of games, so that's fine. But I just think I can see why maybe Kyle Ure.
Are you comparing Bannigan and Pirlo?
Just in the sense that both players, I would want Bannigan to move as little as Pirlo does. Yeah. Not that Pirlo, I'm doing him a disservice as well, but Pirlo didn't need to move because he just.
Andrea Pirlo, if you're listening to this, I do apologise.
Bannigan and Pirlo in the same breath is interesting, but yeah, I think that's the only place. I think otherwise it was. I mean, I've spoken to you about Marco Roos and how much I love him. He's just up until now he's not been a Scott Brown player, and that's what frustrates me about the Championship. And it's not just an Ayr thing. But if we look at the two wingers, for example, in Marco Roos, and you've got Logan Chalmers. Logan Chalmers was kind of seen as a luxury player at Ayr, wasn't really given the chance. He did a couple of really nice things. And I would have done anything to keep Logan Chalmers. I can't remember whether, I don't think that was when Scott Brown, I think that was possibly before. But Logan Chalmers wasn't really seen as a brilliant player by Ayr fans because he's not got, the physicality. He's not going to half crunch a player. His touch and his IQ and his sharpness is not rated as much in Scotland as it would in other countries. And I think Marco Roos as well, you could see he was kind of in the early days of his Ayr United career. It was just so obvious to me the first few times I saw Marco Roos. Technically fantastic, one of the most technical players in the league, but he's not rated in Scotland because he would go in for the crunching challenge. And now, however, Scott Brown has got him playing more defensively, and he said in a recent interview that he's enjoying the defensive side of the game as much as the attacking side of the game. Kind of worries me because I think a player like Marco Roos, he's that good in attack.
Yeah.
Like he's
technically,
should he be playing left full back of a flat back five when Ayr defending, getting pinned back by Matt Fitzpatrick? It's brilliant that he's got that, and we saw you turn to me and said,
Matt Fitzpatrick.
That's a golfer in Fitzpatrick.
I would be concerned.
But you turned to me and said, when Marco Roos put in a fantastically timed sliding challenge, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't know he had that in his locker." And neither really did Ayr fans until recently. And against Morton at the weekend as well. He was up and down that. He was relishing it. It was brilliant. But you're not getting the Marco Roos that I think that and the potential that he's got in attack. So that's maybe one of the frustrating things. But yeah, Ayr look good. They've got. Maybe I'll ask you your thoughts on the Ayr United front three.
Yeah, it was fluid. It was entertaining.
You were enjoying that?
No, it was like he went for quite a fluid attack. Mark McKenzie is a player that we probably spent hours talking. I feel terrible for whoever sat on behind us that flight to Oslo we had recently, where I think we had like a 40-minute talk about Mark McKenzie, where the point was we both actually really like him. He's just not been used in the right positions at time. Centre back, right back, wing, centre mid, number 6, striker. I think he's like a second striker of anything. But the great thing is for Ayr that probably my favourite thing was that the front four was really fluid and it worked really well against Raith Rovers. Suddenly, Jamie Murphy's on the right, Mark McKenzie's on the left. Then suddenly he's up front, Ethan Walker, kind of. They're all switching positions and it's quite difficult to keep up with. At the same time, you then also can bring Anton Dowles onto the game and George Oakley. We've seen Scott Brown use that as a double sub, already. Curtis Main's cutting about somewhere as well. What power to bring off the bench to change it up a little bit. So I'll give you a couple of questions to finish off as well. Firstly, this would probably be a quicker one. Nick McAllister was given a bit of a... I'm not going to turn up and probably tell... It's a bit weird being a fan in a different way, and I did think it was a bit distasteful. He didn't have his best performance. As quite a few players in the team didn't as well. Misplaced a few passes, that kind of thing. Had possibly the worst throw I've ever seen. I'm not going to hold that against him too much, where he tried to launch a long throw into the box and it probably went about 10 feet into the air and 1 foot forward. Other than that, a bit distasteful. It was getting a bit of a cheer when he got subbed off.
I'd never, especially when it's a player like Nick McAllister who absolutely does his pan in for Ayr. If I'm being honest, this stinker, right? Mm-hmm. And I like Nick McAllister. I think he's a brilliant. He's been captain for Ayr at times this season. He loves an assist. I think he's even got on the score sheet as well this season too. And he'll play at right full back. Scott Brown loves him. I think he didn't have a good 45 minutes, particularly on Tuesday night. And Scott Brown did eventually take him off for Dylan Watchett. And when he did, the Ayr United fans, really quite audibly actually, sort of celebrated it. And I don't know what was going on. Fans down in front of us were giving him a bit, and he came over and shouted back.
At the end of the game, he walked off, didn't even give a real side eye to the fans as well, did he? I'm sure it's not going to be a big deal. There won't be headlines made by this, but
no, of course. And Ayr just lost, and they'd lost with a sort of controversial red card, and he'd been sort of hooked early. So I can totally. There's nothing in that, but I didn't. It wasn't a good performance from him. I think I would expect he'd be the first to admit it, but no player. Fair enough if it's a player that's not putting in the effort and that's had 5 or 6 bad games in a row. That's not the case. So there were just a few times where he was sort of. I don't know whether he's just not maybe match sharp or.
Yeah, Dylan Watcher's been playing, of course. So
there was a few times that he was just caught on his heels and wasn't quite in the pace of the game was passing as well. I think there was a few times that he could have been played through on the right wing, and they chose to go more centrally. Whether that was a tactical thing or whether it was because he wasn't having a good game that was the case. But I didn't love hearing the Ayr fans sort of celebrating him going off. But I'm sure he would admit that it wasn't his best performance. But the fact that we've got Nick McAllister and Dylan Watchett as 2 options, it's 2 very, very decent options, and they obviously, I think I can see why Scott Brown went for McAllister over Watchett, but Watchett did add quite a bit.
He's one of my favourite players to watch in the Championship. I think he's got a lot about him. Final question, just to finish us off quickly then. What's the ceiling for this Ayr United team?
I think third.
And do you think they can make a bit of noise in the playoffs if they do make it?
Oh, for sure. And I do. And I think they've got more depth than Partick Thistle. So I'm going to lean on sort of unjustified optimism that potentially Thistle might hit a bump in the road and Ayr might just pick up a bit of steam, and we could maybe push for second. But I think third's the realistic ceiling for this team.
Okay, right, we'll wait and see then what happens. I think Ayer's a lot for the playoffs for me as well. I think to me they are. So right, who should we move on to for one of our next teams then?
I think we need to stick in the top end of the table.
Do you want to stick up at the top, or do you want to take a jump down to the bottom first before we come back?
Yeah.
What would you prefer? Like, were you ready?
I don't mind. Just because because we had been talking about title challengers.
Okay, we'll do that then.
But maybe we want to. Yeah,
we can do that. St Johnstone, as you might be able to hear, the team I've made very little notes about. Was that because I ran out of time? Perhaps. Also, I feel like I generally didn't feel like I need to look quite up as much up about them as well. St Johnstone have impressed me when I've seen them. Simo Valakari has had a bit of a wobble recently, but he's sticking the faith in his players still. You know, he said there's going to be spells throughout a season where you are tested. And it's how you overcome that. Any team that wins title will have little sticky spells like this where they need to just show their character. On the weekend, a 3-1 defeat away to Arbroath. Certainly signs of concern. They took the lead in that game, conceded 3 goals. A player that's probably, I wouldn't say there's huge concern on, because I think he's looked pretty solid so far. Toby Stewart was a bit suspect. Some of the goals in goal for St Johnstone, just a bit odd positioning, sort of made up the minds of the Arbroath players. Good finishes still from Finlay Marshall, a couple of the goals, but made it a bit easy. St Johnstone then sit top of the table, 24 points, 7 wins, 3 draws, and a loss this season. Fraser, you still tipping them for the title 100% of the way you said?
Yeah, and obviously we've spoken, I'll try not to speak too much about Partick Thistle, but I think if you just look, Partick Thistle are the only real challengers, I think, for them now. And if you look at the 2 squads, St Johnstone, I think throughout the season it'll tell. It depends on what happens in January. If Partick Thistle can bolster the squad a wee bit, that might change. But I just think that right now Partick Thistle are in a real purple patch. St Johnstone are not playing their best football. I think they've got another few gears to hit, and Partick Thistle maybe are playing at what is their best potential football right now. So I just think, and at the moment they're both on 24 points, both won 7, drawn 3, lost 1. I think at the start of the season, St Johnstone won 5-1. I think they just have a higher ceiling. I think Thistle have just got 1 or 2 more limitations, and St Johnstone have got more balance throughout their squad than Thistle do. So I can see why maybe there would be some concerns amongst St Johnstone fans. If you watch, you obviously did watch, but if our viewers were to watch the highlights from the St Johnstone Arbroath match, it was one-way traffic in the first half. St Johnstone could have and maybe should have gone in maybe 2 or 3 up. They did capitulate a wee bit in the second half, and Toby Stewart didn't help that at all with a couple of his attempted saves. But
that was always going to happen. Sorry, I'm flicking a pen around here, listening.
But I think they'll be St Johnstone will be absolutely fine. They'll pick up ahead of steam again. They've got the quality. Adamu Sidibe scoring 2 goals against Aubameyang's team in the African Cup of Nations.
Gabon.
The wildest, not the African Cup of Nations, that's a complete lie, but the African qualifiers. Yeah. What a mad game that was, but that's the kind of quality that we're dealing with here.
You're getting down a rabbit hole there, yeah.
I had to get that in, man. Wild. But Adamu Sidibe, Uche Ikpeazu, Stevie Mallon, all these players at St Johnstone I think have been without.
Oh, Fraser, you winding me up. You've not said the 4 man in the division, Josh McPake.
Well, yeah, and Jamie Gullen, of course. Like you've got
McPake, 8 goals, top scorer in the division this year.
But that's the thing, and he's I think and Craig Telfer and Sean McGuigan were saying that he's kind of not in form. So these are the kind of reasons why I think St Johnstone are dropping points a little bit. Once he gets back into form, once St Johnstone hit form, once Sidibe's back, they'll be absolutely fine. So
yeah, I'd still tip St Johnstone for it. I was impressed by them at Starks Park. Again, it was a little bit powder puff from Raith at times that game in the end, unfortunately. But probably what took me back the most was probably the full-time celebrations of that game as well, where St Johnstone really looked like a fan base getting behind their manager, and he went up and did the sort of Jurgen Klopp. I was off picking up a GoPro, but I'm behind the goal. I let them finish and I picked it up. I don't want to be in the middle of all that nonsense. So anyway, I'm just sounding a bit salty here, aren't I? I do think they're a team that are getting behind the manager, getting behind the squad. It's a bit testing at the moment. So obviously that loss against Arbroath was possibly just filtering up because it was sort of festering under, I should say, sorry. They drew 2 games 0-0 in the build-up to that, and 3 wins before that were all 2-1 victories as well. So they hadn't been sort of steamrolling teams as we probably know they can do, and they've done at the start of the season. But that results came, and it's for them to answer this and bounce back. I say every champion, I think, does go through a little spell like this. The fact they won those games 2-1 though, might come back at the end of the season and look. I watched the highlights of their game against Queen's Park. They won 2-1 at Lesser Hampden. There wasn't much in the game. St Johnstone doesn't look very good, but they picked up the 3 points in that game. I think they can grind out results like that. They do have the ceiling, as you've touched on there, to blow teams away. I think you'll get games like that. You'll also get games like that 2-1 win at Queen's Park, which I think might just be what separates them and Thistle come the end of the season. 3 points like that, you'll look back and say that was crucial. That wasn't a game they necessarily had to win or could have guaranteed a win in. It was the same. This is what Dundee United did to Raith. It was really games like that where they didn't play great and still came out and won. So obviously a bit of a question at the moment. Credit to Arbroath, they're a good team as well. But St Johnstone teams are going to play them and they're going to sit off now. That's the major change as well. That's a huge switch for them. So it's how they handle it. Sima Valakari though, they stick behind him, which I'm almost certain they will do, because there seems to be a good buzz around him and the group of players they have. It's almost been a bit of a cliche at times that teams getting relegated can be a better thing for the club at times.
Yep.
But it's actually a cliche that personally I do actually kind of buy into a little bit as well. I can see you never want to see a team get relegated. I've heard other people say, it's a bit of a cliche to say it's a good thing, but you've seen how Kilmarnock came down and went back up. Dundee United came back down, went back up.
Hearts
As well, yeah. Just sort of wipe the decks a little bit, come back up, and I think it can be for the best. I think there's good feeling around St Johnstone. I'm going to tip them for the title on the quality of their squad still. So,
tell me this, because they've got a difficult one away, I think, this weekend. I think it's Capello. Your thoughts on that?
It's always a tough place to go. It'd probably be a draw because it's Greenock Morton.
Yeah, you'd expect.
So we'll come on to them. Yeah, that'll be a good game. Is Morton one of your teams? I think you've got Morton to come up in a little bit. So they're a tough game as well, and just the way things are going right now, it could be another really difficult game for them. But they do have that quality, and Sima Valakari will be looking for a performance from his players most definitely. So looking forward to seeing what the score in that game will be. Should we move on to our next team? Unless you got anything else to add?
Yeah. Did you give a score for St. Sorry, you may well have done.
I might not have done. I was going to give them an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, nice.
Which is slightly lower than Thistle. I believe we gave Thistle a 9, didn't we? They're obviously sort of got that momentum behind. Did you give Thistle a 9 or an 8?
I gave them an 8.
9, yeah. So I'm giving St Johnstone an 8. Maybe a week ago or a couple of weeks ago would have been a bit different. They've got a few questions to answer now, but that's not a bad thing. I think a bit of adversity can be okay, and I'm sure they'll do their best to come through the other side of that. So do you want to move on to your next team? You got someone you're itching to talk about?
I would be happy to talk about any of my next 3 teams.
Of course.
Shall we start? We've done the top 3. I feel it would be doing Arbroath an injustice.
Yes.
Or sorry, I've said we've done the top 3. We've done 3 of the top 4. I think it would be unfair.
Yes.
To miss out. The team flying high in 3rd place right now, and for that reason, I'm giving them a 9 out of 10.
Wow. Yeah. Well earned as well.
Very well earned. I think if we go back to our championship preview.
Do we have to?
I think we have to, yeah. Okay. Just to really justify why I'm giving them a 9, because we both shat all over it.
we did.
I think.
Well,
maybe not.
I don't think you say they'd be terrible or anything like that. I just was a bit more convinced by the other teams, but
I think I think our prediction was that they would get relegated, and based on the first 11 games of the season, they will be nowhere near the relegation spots. They also look like they're getting better rather than tailing off. They have strength and depth. They play a nice style of football. They've got tenacity. All of this for a part-time team in a full-time league is so incredibly impressive. They've got a really exciting attacking line. Yeah. Almost kind of similar to Partick, where they score a lot of goals, but they also concede quite a few. I
believe they conceded 18, second most in the division, but I mean, they've scored enough to offset that. So.
Yeah, so it's exciting.
And probably they conceded these goals, so it doesn't matter. 5 of them in one game against Dunfermline seemed like a bit of a blip on the season. So.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to mention, is that they've got a tendency, and it's maybe a good thing. If you're going to lose, you may as well just get
Get out of the system in one.
So they've lost 3 times in the league this season, and out of 11, which for Arbroath I think they would have taken that. But in those 3 games that they've lost, they've conceded 11 goals and scored none. So when they do lose, they get a bit of a pumping.
Yeah.
But when they're in a game, it's tight. They'll grind out a really good draw, or they'll even dish out a pumping of their own, which they've been doing in the last couple of games. So, so they've lost 3-0 to St Johnstone, 5-0 at home to Dunfermline, and they obviously lost 3-0 in Kirkcaldy as well. So that's a little bit concerning. But I think for a part-time team where the expectations were that they were probably going to be getting dished out 3-0, 5-0 maybe every second week, to have only had that on occasion is good. Their attack looks really good. Finlay Marshall,
one of the breakouts of the season, yeah.
Really good, yeah. And I sort of based my prediction on Arbroath and their season on their League Cup performance against Ayr, where they lost 4-0 at Somerset, and they just looked a little bit powder puff, I think was how I described it. Finlay Marshall was playing, didn't really do much. Ryan Dow he was a standout for them, but he was kind of the only bright spark in that game. Todorov didn't really get a touch of the ball, so based on that, and Ayr looked really comfortable, dispatched them 4-0, and that was enough for me to think that Ayr were going to piss the league and that Arbroath were going to do the opposite. But Arbroath,
Dom Thomas, player of the season.
Exactly. Jude Bonner scored a worldie. Yeah. So, it's luckily they've brought it back a wee bit, but Arbroath, you can see where they've improved since then. And I think for obviously a part-time team at that time of the season, they've obviously learned a lot from that. And yeah, in their last 2 matches, obviously they beat Queen's Park 4-1, where they possibly one of the most dominant first half performances of the season so far for any team. They could have been 5 or 6-0 up at half time. Looking really good across their front sort of 4 or 5 players. Ryan Dow, great experience, a player that's probably playing slightly below his level. He's definitely a full-time player, ability-wise. And then obviously against St Johnstone as well, which is really impressive because Queen's Park at home, Queen's Park will come on to them, not exactly one of the standout teams in the league. So to then back that performance up at home again against St Johnstone is fantastic. So they've got a lot to really like about them. They're really good in attack. They're very, I think when Craig Telfer kind of spoke about it in his podcast, one thing about Arbroath is that they do not give you a second. If they lose the ball or the opposition are attacking, someone will foul or put in a crunching challenge or something. They'll just make sure that they halt the attack, or they'll win the ball back or something. And there's no, they're incredibly solid in that way, and it's a high energy approach, which is interesting for a part-time team that they're able to kind of sustain that. But they try and win the ball high, and then they're quick. They've got Finlay Marshall, they've got Ryan Dow, Gavin Riley now, who's coming into a bit of form as well, Todorov to come off the bench, and yeah, they've got some really good quality. So interesting to see how their season will pan out. I suspect that they might not be quite flying high like they are now. If they were to finish in the playoffs, it'd be fantastic. I think they may just peter out a little bit, just based on the fact that it's a part-time team playing against some real quality full-time teams. But they've got a really good mix of youth and experience. So interesting to see how they'll go on. I don't know what your thoughts on having seen them playing against the Rovers.
Yeah, I said to you just probably as you recorded when we were just touching on Arbroath quickly. I was quite disappointed. I wasn't disappointed because Raith won 3-0. That's the main thing you want to see when you're watching your team play another team. I was slightly disappointed. I didn't get to see the Arbroath that I've heard about. I've seen the highlight packages, and there've been really good reviews about them as well this season in that game against Raith, because Raith deserved to win it. They ran out worthy. This mini slump Raith's having at the minute, that was their most dominant performance, where they scored all the goals at the right time as well. Really killed any momentum that Arbroath had, and I don't think really saw them do as much as you'd probably want. Finlay Marshall was a player that I hadn't seen live yet, and he picked up the ball from quite far out and had cracked a shot from about 25-30 yards at rattled the woodwork. Might still be shaking at Starts Park. That was probably only Arbroath's real chance in the game, but he does look really impressive. Surprising him, Adam Emsley, both on loan at Cove Rangers, and that really successful team. Well, that's a really successful team. They came close to getting promotion last season, lost the playoff finals. Would have thought Adam Emsley would be making that step up as well, but he's gone back to Cove Rangers on loan as well. I don't know if you noticed that one, Fraser. Yeah, he's gone back to Cove again, and Finlay Marshall's the one that's just taken like a duck to water in League One. Yeah. And sorry, in the Championship, I should say, not just with his quality, but also getting goals as well. Is that 6 for the season for him? I don't know if you've got the stats or.
I don't know if it's as many.
It's not 6. I might be getting mixed up.
You might be right, but particularly in the last.
Certainly got 2 in the last game, which would have bumped him up. Anyway, he's looked quality. Ryan Dow, you know what he's all about as well. Quality operators in key areas of the park. Has done Arbroath really well this season. Credit to the management team as well. I think we both tipped them to finish bottom of the league purely of the argument that we'll also touch on Airdrie soon. They hadn't lost Reece McCabe at this point, and we maybe looked at the season being slightly different. It is a bit of an embarrassing take given how well they're doing now. Arbroath, of course, but you found the stats in
there? It is 6 goals for the season. 4 in the last 3 and 5 in the last 5.
Oh, I'm happy that I know more stuff then. Joga Bonito, where you get facts correct. But I was going to say, the reason we both tipped them, and I know this for a fact, is because they lost Fraser Taylor. I think we sort of used that as an argument to say, well, they've lost the best player, and the best player in League One last season, but Finlay Marshall's really taken that mantle on as well to step up. Sam Stanton was another player that really bought on what they were doing last season on loan from Raith, the second half of the season, and I thought those would be losses. But everyone they've replaced, everyone they've brought in, the recruitment has been fantastic at Arbroath. I think they've absolutely nailed their recruitment this summer as well. David Gold, Colin Hamilton doing a fantastic job as well. David Gold's still got a bit about him as well. I think his assist against Morton, he pulled off this beautiful turn, cut back, and I was like, you know what? Unk's still got it, Unk can still play. So, Arbroath really enjoying it. I don't know if you're referencing the Terrace or the BBC podcast.
Terrace.
Oh, okay, Terrace. Well, I was listening to the BBC Daily podcast, which also has Craig Telfer on it at times as well, where he was talking with Ryan Flynn, and Ryan Flynn speaks really well as being still having a lot of quality himself. He's been speaking about Arbroath on that podcast as well, so I won't regurgitate everything they've said. People can go and listen to that as well if they want after listen to Joga Bonito, because it's a good listen. But he did mention the fact that the Arbroath squad or the coaching team, I'm not entirely sure who would have said it, had sort of pinpointed a mini league at the bottom of the division coming into it between them, Airdrie and Queen's Park, and they've taken 9 points in their 3 games against those teams. Going off what you told me, I'm trusting you on that one, Fraser. But that's probably where they've set their expectations, and that's fine. And if Arbroath finished the season in 8th, it's been a good season given how catastrophic they were in their last championship campaign. But I think they're going to be comfortably better than that this season. They've shown that the quality they do possess, and I think the best thing for a team is to play, do you know what I mean, without that pressure on them. They'll just go into every game, a bit like the season they went for the title. I'm not going to say they're doing that again, but what probably worked so well that season they went for the title was all the pressure was on Killy. And you know what? Arbroath were like, we'll just turn up to our next game and try and pick up 3 points. Yeah. And just had the wind in their sails and kept on going. So, yeah, they've been a bit of a breath of fresh air as well for a part-time team coming into the league, especially given they were so poor when they got relegated under McAnally as well, and it was Dick Campbell as well. Things just got a bit stale. They've came up and they've been anything but stale. Yeah.
No, it's good to see. And the interesting thing as well, I think, when we had previewed the championship, that'll be 2-3 months ago now, I'd sort of pinpointed Aaron Pettifer as a player to watch.
This was purely off vibes and the eye test.
Purely off the eye test. I thought he was fantastic against Ayr in their 4-0 defeat. Him and Ryan Dow. Aaron Pettifer, he then went and scored a hat-trick in a game not too long after, and I thought, I
remember you said to me, hey, remember what I told you? Yeah.
I'm a bloody genius. He's barely really kicked the ball. Yeah. He's barely really started since, so that also points to me that they've got really good strength and depth, because I was really impressed by him. Sort of a deep line midfielder. It's got real technical ability, plays with the head up on the half turn type thing. He obviously clearly likes a wee goal if he scoring hat tricks every now and again. So it's just, that's kind of, for a team like that to have the strength and depth. They've got Ryan Flynn obviously starting ahead of Aaron Pettifer. They've got Harry Cochrane. I don't think he's been playing too much either.
He's played a fair bit, but he's not been one of the headline takers. Yeah.
So these players, like, if you look in the context of the squad, they've got a strong back line. I think for them it's just trying to make sure that they don't ship goals as often as they have been, and when they do lose a match, if they can maybe stop it from being 3, 4, 5.
I'm here for the kamikaze football.
I do love a bit.
I'm here
I do
for it.
love kamikaze football, but
Arbroath, if you're listening, keep it up. Keep it up.
keep it up for when you next go to Somerset Park.
Didn't get pumped by Dunfermline again, because that's the only one that we'll try and go away from.
So I think they're a well-deserved 9 because I think nobody had them picking up 18 points after 11. So fantastic start to the season, and I think they could have a really strong season.
When we were bouncing our ideas off these ratings, and we obviously have gone off and done 5 teams each and given our own. We've had the final say on 5 each. I did say to you, Arbroath could be a 10. We've not given them the perfects. They've not won every game, but I don't think they could have asked for anything more. So no, 9's are right. I
think a team would have to. Thistle could have been a 10 if they hadn't got pumped 5-1 in the season. Arbroath could have been a 10 if they hadn't got pumped 5-0 by Dunfermline at home.
That's quite embarrassing. Yeah.
So these kind of things, definitely not perfect, but close to
love and life back in the second tier. Should we move on to our next team?
Let's do it.
I'm going to actually hit the next 2 teams on this because we had another midweek clash in the Scottish Championship, didn't we, Fraser?
We did, yes.
Yes, so this was Airdrie against Dunfermline.
2 of your favourite teams, Callum.
I love when they come head to head, these two. So I'll just give a bit of a summary and then I'm going to let you choose which team we go for first. I've obviously got both of them as I've done a bit more in-depth research into this game. I watched the highlights, mate. I watched the interviews. I've done a bit of research.
You're always watching the Dunfermline highlights.
I know, yeah. I didn't watch them from Friday night last week, I'll tell you that. I saw that in the flesh. I don't want to see it again. Anyway, so it was a battle of the Lennons. I actually wrote that down the very top of my notebook and underlined it because I was really bored at work last time when I was doing all this research because nothing was going on.
Yeah.
If my manager's listening, I'm joking. That didn't happen. If he's not, then
that was in his dream.
That didn't actually happen. But I wrote Battle of the Lennons, put a line under it, and unfortunately that game put a line under the spell of one of the Lennons that was involved in this clash, Mr. Danny Lennon.
I was worried it was Neil there.
So
BBC were sweating when they saw Lennon has just been sacked. They were like, "Oh,
I haven't got enough Celtic legends managing the Championship. It's terrible." So Danny Lennon's short spell at Airdrieonians came to an end. 8 games. We'll touch on a bit more of that in a second. But the game wasn't a huge amount in it in the opening 40 minutes. But then Dunfermline grabbed 2 late goals at the end of the first half. Andrew Todd Jr. getting the 2 goals for them on the cusp of half time. And then they came out quickly. Matty Todd, who was very impressive in the game. I'm going to talk a bit about him as well when I touch on Dunfermline. Made it 3-0. And then Chris Kane, the master of scoring from half a yard out, sort of just bundled the ball into the back of the net once again to put the cherry on top for Dunfermline. A very impressive 4-0 result for them. Keeping up a good upturn form for them as well in recent times. But unfortunately for Airdrie, things not looking too good. 2 points on the board. Danny Lennon sacked, out of his job. Or was it 4 points on the board? Sorry, I might be wrong there. It might be 2 draws for Danny Lennon. It'll be in my notes somewhere, I'll tell you that much. So they are, 4 points on the board. Only 2 points in Danny Lennon's 8 games. Not looking too good. Fraser, which of these teams do you want to touch on first?
Let's go for Airdrie. I think they need to be touched on.
Well, so Airdrie was going to be the other team you mentioned in our news at the start, but we'll touch on this news now that in the week Danny Lennon was sacked as Airdrie manager. I don't know if you saw the statement.
No, I didn't.
2 sentences is all he got from Airdrie, which is a bit odd. Anyway, so he was put in a position that I think most people probably agree. Danny Lennon was a surprise appointment, certainly taken over from Rhys McCabe. I think it was going to be a difficult job for anyone that came into it. But someone like Danny Lennon, who is, I'm not got a really bad word to say about Danny Lennon. He's a Raith legend, and he's a good ambassador for the club quite clearly as well. I did feel it was a bit odd. We played Airdrie away recently, 0-0 draw for Raith, where we were wearing our Bayern Munich inspired kit that was up on the wall recently, red and blue stripes, which was actually modelled by Danny Lennon this summer, and seeing him stood right there next to the players was a bit odd. I
wonder, has Danny Lennon maybe been to Starks Park as many times as he's been at Excelsior this season? Based on
rough, and that wouldn't be far off because I think he was a guest at the start of the season at one of our first home games, and then he's obviously been there to model the kit as well.
Yeah.
So it must be getting up there for Mr. Lennon. That didn't get enough time with his players clearly to if he got to take them off to an island when they were little kids and sort of drill it into them. You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Oh, Danny Lennon famously did an interview a few years ago where he said he dreams of the opportunity to take a big group of like 30 kids, take them to an island and sort of drawing some sort of football mentalities into them, which was a bit
very Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. And where he would be the Lord, I suppose.
He would leave them, drop them off, give them a ball, and turn up.
Yes.
A year later, and
so after Danny Lennon obviously had his spell at Clyde, where he was quite impressive. His name was always sort of like, if you looked at next odds for the Raith manager, he was always like 6th or 7th on the list or whatever. But like, I wouldn't have probably wanted him based off his time at Clyde, St Mirren before that. So I was a bit surprised to see him rock up at a championship club, a full-time club as well, sort of out of nowhere. I think he won the league with Clyde, but that was sort of propped up by the goals of a former Blackburn and Dundee United striker, and it was a quality team. Ray Grant, I think, was in midfield for them. They had quality in there, but obviously I think he got the sack from there in the end. Didn't go out too well, so comes into Airdrie, 8 games, 6 losses, 2 draws. Never really looked like he was going to be the man to turn it around.
Yeah, there was negativity around it from the get-go, really. I don't remember seeing any positive responses to the news when he was appointed by Airdrie fans. It appears it hasn't worked out at all. I always feel for managers when they're given that little time. I think Ange Postecoglou was treated maybe unfairly. Danny Lennon, not really given much of a chance in 8 games, but yeah, I think that one didn't make too much sense other than the fact that he'd done it before and he was available.
So maybe his character was maybe looked at as being
potentially
like a good character. He might have just been able to pick up the pieces a little bit. The squad were a little bit taken aback by what happened at the start of the season. McCabe sort of leaving out of nowhere. They maybe just thought character and someone that wants to play good football and not passing out the back. If you want to look at it that way, certainly. That's what his Airdrie team were doing against Dunfermline. Just about every single clip, whether it ended up with a chance for Airdrie or ended up with a Dunfermline goal, started with the ball getting passed out from the back. Matty Conley in goal for Airdrie. The ball sort of starting with the ball at his feet. 3rd goal for Dunfermline, probably, if I was watching that game, and I'd imagine whoever makes the decisions at Airdrieonians, if they were sat watching and the 3rd goal went in, the Matty Todd goal, you're probably thinking, this isn't working out, because Matty Conley basically picks up the ball, plays a pass into Chisholm, who's, I won't criticise him too much, he's an 18-year-old defender. It's not a good pass for him to receive, but then he also does sort of on the right-hand side, right on the touchline, picks up the ball, tries to open up his body completely, and there's a Dunfermline player two actually Dunfermline players right on him, take the ball off Matty Todd's got an open goal to tap it into. You're probably watching that and thinking, what are we actually doing here? What's the idea? Matty Conley, I was a bit surprised to see him go in as number 1 for Airdrie this season. He was at East Kilbride last season, so maybe a lot of players at East Kilbride obviously had in the lower league, but maybe players that they saw as a step above. It certainly gave him plenty of opportunities to have the ball at his feet, and it's something he's comfortable with. And I'm not going to knock him too much for that, but also it's a tough game at the championship level for any goalkeeper to do it. So there are going to be mistakes. He's a young player on loan from Motherwell, Matty Conley in goal. Chisholm makes that mistake as well. There was some nice football though, based off the highlights. Because Airdrie do have a lot of good players, and I don't know what the recruitment really was this summer. Obviously, a lot of the players that came through an agency, basically, that were linked to the club, and that's moved on now. But the recruitment seemed to be, right, Rhys McCabe, likes to play a nice passing style of football. What do you need for that? As many technical central midfielders as you can physically fit into one squad. I was thinking about this in my head, so I went to have a look through the squad. Cole McKinnon, Jamie Barger, and Telfer, what's his first name? Charlie Telfer, of course. Lewis McGrattan, Rhys Armstrong, and then they've got Chris Mockery as well. He's should probably be occupying a number 10 position. And Scott Constable, who I don't know a huge amount about, young player. It says on his transfer mark to play right back, but he was playing centre mid in this one as well. Had the worst shot I've ever seen of all time. Don't know who decided to put it in the Airdrie highlights. Goodness me. That might land in your back garden, that shot, unfortunately for Scott Constable. But there's a lot of quality in there. I look at Rhys Armstrong especially as a player that I just know a bit better as well. I think there's a real player in there. He was at the Caledonian Braves the year before I went there, and I'd heard everyone talk about this guy, and I'd even heard about through someone I knew as well that was a sort of a footballer in his younger days, around the same age as Rhys Armstrong in that sort of that part of the world, Lanarkshire, and they were, do you know who Rhys Armstrong is? We don't know what actually happened to him. He stopped playing football, this guy, anyway. So they're but at a youth age, everyone knew who Reece Armstrong was. He was like one of the best. And he actually went off to, I believe it was New York. He went off to America for a year, came back, and I know this through Ricky Waddle, who'd obviously worked for him at Braves, worked for him as a young player and brought him in. No one really wanted him at that time. One brilliant year at the Braves, picked up by Spartans. Spartans won the league. Great year in League Two. Airdrie pick him up. Chance to kick on. He's not done it quite as much as he might have wanted to, but he's in a midfield with, like 5 other central midfielders all trying to do the same thing. And I've seen him play holding midfield for Airdrie, come off the bench in centre mid. I'm just using him as an example of someone that's in a bit of a logjam in midfield, it seems to be. And I don't know how you fit them all in one team. I don't know if they've looked at it and just generally thought Reece McCabe loves his technical style of play, give him as many technical players as he can and he'll work it out. Like you've seen Pep Guardiola playing Matheus Nunes at right back. I don't know if that was the thought, something like that. But it's just a bit of an uneven squad and certainly doesn't have a number 9 at all in the squad. You've seen Ewan Henderson, who's a good player, scored 4 of their 8 goals this season. It's probably a bit concerning. He's been up there. Chris Mockrick, who another really good technical player, has played up front. And Jake Hasty, who's technical, talented as well, like the other two, but he's been a bit powder puff at times as well.
It is worrying they have good players, as you say. It's a decent enough squad, and maybe looking at that squad up against similar squads that we'll come on to, they might be able to sort of make up the gap that they've got at the bottom just now. But Jake Hasty he's an interesting one. I was kind of disappointed it never worked out for him at Ayr. I always, when he was at Ayr, thought there's a player in there, obviously, £1 million kind of player, real potential, but just never really kicked on and didn't get really much of an opportunity at Ayr. Is he going to be able to do it at Airdrie? I'm not sure. It doesn't look like the kind of environment where he will flourish. But as you say, loads of technical players. So good footballers in and around the squad. If they can get a good manager in, someone that can come in and sort of turn the tide, they might be okay. But it looks difficult for them at the moment.
Could be a job in Murray, maybe lined up.
Potentially,
he likes having a lot of attacking quality players, as many as he can get onto the pitch at one time. Sort of what he likes to do. So maybe, but I think they need a manager they're going to stick with. Certainly. Ian Murray's got previous with Airdrie and a striker.
Mark out of 10.
2.
2.
Yeah, couldn't be much worse. So the games under McCabe, they picked up 2 of their 4 points under McCabe in his 4 games, 2 draws, 2 losses, and then under Lennon, 2 draws and 6 losses. So they did come close to beating Raith. They hit the crossbar in that game. So that could have been their only win, but winless. Looks like going to get a big cut adrift at the bottom. What they'd need is just a little run of form. It's not impossible. It's far from it. If Queen's Park are going to have their struggles, if they could maybe get a cut adrift as a bottom 2, Airdrie might have that. If they could pick up 2-3 wins in a row, it feels like we're quite a long way away from saying they're going to do that. But they do have the technical players in the squad. Lewis Strapp's arguably the best left back in the league in that squad as well. I saw him wearing the Scott captain's armband the other day. Chris Mockrick can win games. Ewan Henderson can win games. They just need to tie it together. And an additional 2 in January could be really important. Managerial appointments, huge right now. There's quite a lot of names out there they'll be taking a look at, I'm sure. So I think that's the important thing. But if they do get 2-3 wins in a row, as I say, it feels quite far away. They could maybe make Queen's Park panic a little bit and try and catch up to them.
And it's interesting because possibly at this time in the season, last season, they probably had about 1 point.
This is true as well.
Try to think back, they had 6 points until about the 28th game in the season or something wild. So the fact they're on 4 is maybe progress. I don't know. I would need to look at the stats from last season, but they've been there before. I guess that's a positive.
I suppose, the Great Escape was getting played after their games at times last season. Exactly. I was down at the Excelsior, which was quite annoying when they beat us. And Great Escape,
they might need
blasting out.
They might need Queen's Park to get
points to
15.
That does help. So they got the reprieve last year. They've not really learnt from that. It feels like. So look, whoever's making the decisions at Airdrie, I don't know. Maybe I should know that. We've done a lot of research here. I don't know who makes the decisions at Airdrie, but they've not been happy to sit around and watch them lose under Danny Lennon, I suppose. So that's maybe a sign that they'll look to turn this around and stay up the rest of the season.
Yeah, I hope that they can put up a wee bit of a fight at least. But we shall see.
Yeah.
And with that, shall we move on to your other favourite team in the league?
Yes, Dunfermline. I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Which I guess it's really like, sort of flavour of the minute, flavour of the week.
Yeah.
If you asked me, and not me, I don't really matter as a Dunfermline fan, 2 weeks ago, the build up to Fife Derby, there wasn't very much optimism around East End Park, everyone I spoke to. But then 2 wins in a row, you're back on, like, feeling quite good. Maybe they'd give themselves 7 or an 8, you never know. But I'm going to give them a 6. I'll stick in the middle of that. I think they have been really impressive in flashes. And the podcast you missed, unfortunately, was with Mr. Ayr and Fraser, where I was talking through Dunfermline, the teams that have had the best transfer windows, and I actually put Dunfermline down in that, which was a bit of a sort of, I think maybe a hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take now, because they've looked quite good already, but my early take, which may be considered a hot take, I said I think Dunfermline are going to be the championship champions next season. That's my sort of early take. Right at the start of the season.
That's impressive because it's impossible to predict.
Well,
in the current season, never mind.
I'm predicting next season. I don't know who's going to win it this season, but my hot take is they'll win it. Depends who comes down. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. But I think they've built a squad. Probably looked at it this season, and when the recruitment was getting criticised, and people saying, well, everyone was saying, the press and the outside sources were saying Dunfermline's going to spend all this money and hoover up all the talent possible. They've not done that in an obvious way, but they've obviously spent some sort of money to get Caceres in, to get McLeod in from Dundee United, and then probably not players that are going to walk in and run away with the league. But if I was building a squad at Dunfermline, I could also see the perspective of we could spend all this money and still probably not be able to quite compete with Ross County and Johnstone. Obviously, Ross County have tailed off. You didn't see that coming, but I can see why they've gone and built a really young squad. Fraser, I've done some maths. The average age of the Dunfermline starting lineup the other day. Do you want to guess?
Did Chris Kane start?
Chris Kane came on.
Right?
Didn't start.
I'm going to go 23.4.
I don't know how you convert it to months. So it was 21.9.
21.9.
So just under 22 years old was the average age of the starting lineup for Dunfermline. They've got guys like Chris Hamilton, 24 years old. He's the young in that team. I saw a clip of Bukayo Saka and Max Dowman in training.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka's 24 as well. He seems like such an unk now as well, giving advice to young guys. That's a bit like Chris Hamilton in the midfield for Dunfermline. Oakley Booth, I think his name is as well. Sorry, I've too many names going around today. I think he's 25 as well. But other than that, you've got
Chaloka Mullen,
young talent.
21,
He's 21 as well. Andy Todd's obviously the man. Andy Todd Jr. He's been spectacular recently.
He has been spectacular.
So 6 goals in the league for him as well. Was on loan at East Fife last season, and he's came into this Dunfermline team and looks so confident and he owns that place. One of my favourite personal type of players. I love a 6 foot tall winger that arrives at the back post and wins the headers against fullbacks. He's been doing a bit of that, and his first goal was vintage sort of tall man winger play. Keith Bray. Oh, yeah. I told you, Tete Yengi's got the resources to do it. We're not seeing it yet, but maybe if he doesn't put another transfer request in. All right, that's enough of that. All right. Anyway, the first goal was a brilliant run from Keith Bray down the right hand side, who came in from Inverness, and I really, really rated him at Inverness.
Where was he born?
Isle of oh my goodness, you put me on the spot here. This was some research I did recently.
No, I thought it was. Is he not one of the starters in the?
He is, yeah.
Sorry.
He's born. I'll see if I've got this on one of my other. Sorry, we're getting distracted so easily here.
Sorry,
At the Isle of Lewis.
Isle of Lewis.
Population of 18,000.
Wow.
Formerly including Keith Bray, who's since moved down to sunny pastures in Fife. But I think he's a player really something got about him. Inverness fans really liked him. He took his time to get into Dunfermline team, but he's cracked into it recently. I thought he was pretty solid in the Fife derby. He showed something about him, and it was a brilliant run up the right hand side. Swung across into the back post, and Andy Todd just looked bigger and stronger than anyone else in the box. Fired this header into the back of the net. So fair play to him for that one there. And then he quickly got his second goal as well. Really good ball from Chocolate Mullen, who we've been impressed by at times as well in the half defence for Dunfermline. Clearly very comfortable on the ball, which is probably what you're looking for, with young players like that. Pings a fantastic ball to Matty Todd, who's back in the starting lineup for Dunfermline. I'm going to speak about him very soon as well. Brings it down really well, cuts it back. Andy Todd puts it in 2-0. So there's quality young players. 6 goals for a 19-year-old. Andy Todd has been really impressive this season. He's probably been sort of the standout player for Dunfermline this campaign. But everyone they brought in as well have looked really solid. Abdullahi, I don't know if you've seen any of him yet.
Not much.
I think Dunfermline fans are starting to say if he's playing, they're not going to concede. 3 clean sheets for him now in the starting lineup, coming in from, I believe, Ghana. I do apologise if I'm wrong on that. I think it was Ghana. I don't know how he's came up in a scout report, but fair play to whoever's found him because he looks really big, really solid. 21 years old as well. Looks like he's got a real bit of quality about him. But this Dunfermline squad, it's young, and I think there'll be testing times. There's probably frustrating times throughout the season. But Dunfermline fans just need to stick with it because I'd imagine Neil Lennon was aware of this when he started the season off. He was going to have to be a bit patient with it as well because they are really young and fresh, and they can be entertaining. They could probably also get done by teams at certain points throughout the season, but games like 5-0 at Arbroath, 4-0 at Airdrie. I say Airdrie didn't look terrible, completely terrible. Did play in, with some really bad defending at times more than anything that Dunfermline took complete control of. But Dunfermline have looked good, and that's the first time I think they've won back-to-back games since March of last year as well, which is probably a bit of a surprise as well. Something that they need to get into the games, a bit of consistency. And Neil Lennon did say after the match, which was interesting, that he was glad he did say this as the exact quote. He said, glad there's a bit of a connection between the fans and the team. And he said now, there wasn't really before, which I could probably see as well. I think the Fife derby, though, was the perfect game for them to pick up a big win. Quite galvanising, certainly. I don't think you caught that game. You might have been working, I think.
I didn't watch it live, but I saw the highlights. And
so I think that
Kane's lovely goal.
I mean, that can be quite galvanising, though, certainly winning a derby. And you saw the highlights from that one then.
Yeah. They just looked better. Barney Stewart's goal was also.
He took it well, yeah. I could break it down from a Raith perspective and be quite frustrated, but we might do that. But he did take it well, and it's quite funny. They're one of the best players as a Falkirk player. Huh? I can laugh at that at least.
They do look like they've just picked up. Andy Todd looks fantastic.
Yeah,
really does, and absolutely flying this season. So he's exciting to watch, and they do look good. I think as you say, they probably will blow up hot and cold this season, just with the fact that they've got an average age of 21.9, as you said. But yeah, I think 6 out of 10 is a pretty fair assessment of their season so far. I think Dunfermline fans maybe would have hoped and expected to be a little bit higher in the league based on the money that they've spent. But then if you look at the project that the
profile player they brought in,
then to be where they are, and they look like they could threaten to push on and threaten the sort of playoff places. So I think the Dunfermline fans will be happy with their season so far, and not have expected too much more, but also would have been disappointed with any less. So I think they'll be quite happy.
Yeah, I think Dunfermline fans do want to finish in the playoffs still at the end of the day, and that's probably easier to say when you're not a fan of that club, where you say, well, either way, it's probably building something in the right direction. It can be frustrating when your team's not winning games. Of course it can be, but I'm sure Neil Lennon probably, I think even if they finish in the playoffs and want to win the playoffs, it'd be a good experience for that young core, because I think they keep that group together, which they will, because they've all came in on long-term contracts. You keep that together, and then you add that little bits of quality that can win a league for you next season, then they'll really kick on. But it's been a good start to, mixed start to the season, I say, sorry. Good upturn in form, showing some good signs. And the player I did want to touch on as well is Matty Todd. He's probably one of the most disliked players by Raith Rovers fans. He is a bit of a, I'll say it as I'm a Raith Rovers fan. He's a wee bam. When I say he said, oh God, he annoys me so much. At times he went up to the Raith fans when he scored the winning penalty and to get a bonus point for Dunfermline and a League Cup group stage where they didn't get out of. Despite winning that bonus point, he went up to Raith fans and stuck his fingers in his ear. And then Raith played Dunfermline 5 more times that season and beat them every single time. And Ian Murray went up to the fans every single time and done that, which was quite funny. And since then, generally, I'm not trying to be wide here at all either. I hadn't really seen anything from Matty Todd since. And I thought at that time he was a really important player in that team that won League One. A young player, broke out, popular with the fans. Obviously, he loves the club as well. You can tell that he's really passionate about it. And so just fell off a little bit. And Neil Lennon did say after the game himself as well, which sort of backed up what my eye test was more than anything, that Matty Todd had been off form for a long time. That's what he said after the game. But he thought he was outstanding in the game. And I agree. He looked really, really bright. Apparently he had a family bereavement last week as well, unfortunately, but took the decision to play as well. And obviously just put everything into his performance there because he was fantastic. I don't know if you saw the picture after he scored, Chris Kane scored the second goal for Dunfermline, but he was right up at Lewis Stevenson, who's on the ground, and he's celebrating in his ear, which was a bit annoying, but from a Raith perspective. But it seemed to really he's obviously got a bit of a fire in his belly, and he came on in that game, and you really noticed him in a good way. Matty Todd certainly. So he looks back confident playing, and he's almost a bit like a new signing for Dunfermline out of nowhere. He's someone that's back fit and on form as well. So certainly one to look out for in the central midfield. So good performance from him. Good performance from his team. Young side, 6 out of 10. I think expectations might need to be tempered at times a little bit because it's a young squad. But I did ask this question to Aaron as well, and I'll ask it to you. Actually, I asked Aaron and I answered it myself, which probably isn't right. I don't know if I'd rather have the Raith squad or the Dunfermline squad. I think it's an interesting debate. I'm still taking the Raith squad with maybe that little lace of bias in there. There's more quality, match-winning quality. You had one-off games when the teams are on form. I'd fancy Raith to win it just on terms of what they've got, but it is a bit of a dad's army we've assembled. A lot of the players the other side of 30, whilst Dunfermline have this group of young players. I don't know what squad you'd rather have.
Right now, Raith.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think definitely, but
I could see why I think it's a really interesting question to ask. So when the Dunfermline transfer policy was getting a bit scrutinised, maybe after the whole Dylan Easton club statement thing. I don't know if you saw a full-time Dunfermline. It was quite funny. They posted club statement.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Dunfermline win or whatever it was, which was quite funny, to be fair. I'll give them that. But after the Dylan Easton thing, I think fans probably were looking at Dunfermline like the recruitment was a bit rubbish. I can see the big pitch with it. I'm happy with the Raith squad though.
Yeah.
But I think there's plenty of talent in it. But we'll come on to that then. So, anything to add to Dunfermline, Airdrie?
No, I think you've nailed them both.
Thank you very much.
So well done.
Thank you very much. Right, should we move on to your next team?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go with we've sort of hit middle to lower end of the table, so I think it's only fair that we touch on Morton. Greenock Morton.
The most middling team of them all. So Fraser, you're taking Greenock Morton, the draw specialists. What have you given them out of 10?
I'll give them a 6 as well, I think.
Okay.
Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair, yeah.
6.
I think they've beat. How many games have they drawn this season? Have you got the facts?
8.
8 out of.
One win, 8 draws, 2 losses.
Incredible.
I was actually kind of. I was at the in hospitality at Somerset Park at the weekend.
Not bad for some.
Just a wee one off every season. We do that for a bit of fun, and I was actually weirdly semi-disappointed just because I loved the symmetry of Morton's sort of 1-8-1, and I thought.
Quick question before I'm going to ask you what you thought of Morton's performance in that game. What was Zach Delaney doing? Picking up the ball. For anyone that didn't see that, go look it up. Zach Delaney decided that he didn't want to play football anymore. Thought he was fouled and just picked up the ball and gave away a penalty.
This is 100%, and I love to see it being punished because
Yes,
it's 100% my least favourite thing in professional football. I think if any player goes down and they pick up the ball before the whistle's been blown, whatever decision the ref was about to make, it should be reversed.
Oh, do you think? No matter what?
I hate it when a player goes down, they've been fouled, and they make the decision for the ref and they scoop the ball up. I hate it. I think it's silly. Who are they to decide what a foul is and what isn't?
I agree. Right, take that to FIFA.
I would
take that to Arsene Wenger instead of his
Infantino.
offside rule. Like Arsene Wenger to put a happy birthday to the professor this week as well. Yeah, he's tuning in.
This is how we've gone from Zach Delaney to
sorry.
Wenger.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I like it.
Happens
'cause
quickly.
It's his birthday, so. But yeah, I can't stand it. So to see it happen to the benefit of my team was really quite satisfying.
Until Anton Dowd stood up and missed the penalty. Anyway, question: how did Morton perform? What did you think of Dougie Emery's side?
Exactly how you would expect.
Put it what it says on the tin.
Morton's play,
Yeah.
They had a bit about them. They've got a bit of quality, and they've got quality all over the park. They are like a very good outfit, but they just lack a little bit of star power that other teams have. Ayr it was almost sort of quite similar to Partick Ayr the other night, except Ayr were Partick and Morton were Ayr. It was a tight match. Morton did well to get back into it, slightly against the run of play, and Ayr deservedly sort of ran out victors. They hadn't been amazing. They didn't need to be amazing. They were the better team, I think. Morton, I think they would be disappointed they couldn't eke out a draw from that game. I think it was a fair reflection. I must say though, Morton, they've got a very good attacking sort of front 3-4 players. You've got Tommy Adeloy, Eamon Brophy, Owen Moffat, Cameron Blues, Cammy McPherson behind. They've got Aaron Lyles on the bench, so they've got real. They probably do have the ability, if they wanted to, be a little bit more expansive, and they did cause Ayr problems at times. But it was a kind of just battling performance from Morton. I think a lot of Morton fans weren't really impressed with the performance. And one player I must say as well, James Storer, does deserve a shout out. I think he's been fantastic for them. It was a good penalty save. Anton Dow's penalty was weak, and it was exactly where I think a goalkeeper would want a penalty to be struck, but he still did really well to save it. And then against Partick Thistle in the week before, he was fantastic as well. So he looks like a really good signing for them. And they've got a strong squad. Zach Delaney, despite his madness, looks is a decent player as well. So they'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine. I think if they can, well, obviously I think they'll be looking to convert their draws into wins. But if they're going along taking points off of Partick Thistle, St Johnstone, Ross County, struggling against the better teams like Ayr, of course. But if they're able to do that throughout the season, they'll be absolutely fine. And I think they've got the firepower to go on and win games if needed. But they just maybe need to release the handbrake a little bit, because they weren't overly pretty on the eye, but you could see that they have the quality to be if they wanted to. But coming away from home to Somerset Park when Ayr in good run of form was never going to be an easy game for them either. So not much more to say on Morton really, other than the fact that good team, and they have potential to be better, I think, and I think they'll be more than fine.
Yeah, probably sounds about Dougie and Marie's Morton teams every single season. He's managed them. I think he's done a really good job in the bigger picture, where he's lost so much quality, like year on year on year. You know, you could build up such a quality team of players that he's lost. You know, like Robin Muirhead and George Oakley, I think, were the two players in PFA Team of the Year last season. And they were both playing for Morton the season before. Again, they lost quality coming into this season. And what he does well is, I'm not going to say he's got built a team of like rejects, but almost a bit like that, unfancied players. He's brought Jackson Longridge in, and he's like been captain. He's like a revelation in the heart of defence. Naturally, a left back, but he's someone that's played at a good level as well. Was in that Hamilton team that got relegated and like was a bit in and out of the team at times. I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong on that. I'm fairly sure he was, but not someone that like Championship clubs were chomping at the bit to bring in. Same like Grant Gillespie's been there for a few seasons now. Not someone that everyone was like really desperate to sign in the Championship. He brings them in and has a really good squad, and they're not easy to beat. I think Wilson's really important at the base midfield for them as well. Like most gangly holding midfielder there's ever been. He does a good job in there as well. And he's replaced these players year on year. Storer and goal as well is a good mention as well, because he's obviously looked at the start of the season, who on earth Morton going to be playing in goal? They bring him in out of nowhere on loan from someone in England.
Wolves.
Could be Wolves, I think you're right there.
Potentially.
Yeah, bring him in on loan from Wolves. Looks brilliant as well, and Dougie Marie's got this knack for bringing in players. But just to finish off quickly then, you just putting us at 6 because they just need to turn more of these draws into wins. It's quite simple. There's not really, don't really overthink it.
Yeah, they've had a good start to the season. It could be a lot better, but it could be a lot worse. So I think maybe a 5.5 to 6 is a pretty accurate reflection on their start to the season.
Out the teams in the league probably have one of the higher floors but lower ceilings. Perhaps it's fair to say, isn't it? I feel like they'll always be fine. But
they can push it a wee bit. As I said, obviously they've got star quality. Just, I don't know, Owen Moffat out in the right wing, potentially he could be unleashed and more centrally, but I'm not sure. He didn't see a huge amount of the ball. When he did, he caused Ayr some issues. So I think there's definitely there is quality there that they can tap into.
Right, my next team then. Is that okay?
It is. Yeah.
Let's move on. Right, we're going to move on. We're talking about high floors and low ceilings. We're going to talk about a very low floor and a very high ceiling, I think it's fair to say, with our next team, which is Ross County. So they've had a bit of a disastrous start to the season, it's fair to say, and I was thinking about giving them a 3. I'm actually going to give them a 2.
But they just had a fantastic 0-0 draw against St Johnstone.
Perhaps, yeah.
Make it a 10.
Which they seem to be very happy about getting, which is probably quite telling. To be fair, it was probably a good result given where they are, but I'm going to give it a 2. I don't think much more could have gone wrong at the start of the season for Ross County. They have picked up that 1 win against Raith Rovers in the division, which gives them a little boost up to 8 points, but it's still early days. There's like 70 points left to play for in the division. But yes, so Ross County came down this season back to the Championship, and if they thought they'd romp it like they did last time they were down, they were wrong. It's been a pretty tough start to the campaign, a very tough start to the campaign. Don Cowie did not see out too many games as manager for Ross County, and they have since replaced him with Tony Docherty, the former Dundee manager, known for his high-flying, attacking Dundee teams last season that were quite successful the last 2 campaigns, keeping their head above water. But you know my favourite fact, I've given you time and time again on this podcast, just because I just hadn't really heard anyone else say it, was 145 goals they'd conceded or something like that, and they're something like that. It was 145 2 goals. I'm going to nail that. I might be wrong, but I'll double check. Goals they'd conceded in 2 league seasons under Tony Docherty. So what do they do, Fraser?
Well, they sacked him.
No, Tony Docherty. Ross County. What did Ross County do? Sorry.
Well, they shut up shop.
They bring in Callum Davidson, the defensive master, the mastermind behind a cup-winning double.
Is that what
Callum Davidson? He's the assistant manager there these days. Yeah. You seem shocked by this news.
I actually didn't.
You missed that. Well, Callum Davidson is the assistant manager at Ross County, and I've heard people sort of talk about it and give their opinion on it, and be like, well, you've got a great attacking coach in Tony Docherty, you've got a great defensive assistant. It's Callum Davidson. It's going to work out. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. Like, you don't just put the 2 of them together and you merge into one
that's like
perfect manager.
An American football team.
Exactly, yeah. They're not
send out your defensive team in the first half.
Coordinating each half. Right, you take the attackers, he takes the defenders. I don't think it's going to work like that. Maybe he'll bring a bit of pragmatism to the Tony Dock style play. You never know. But they certainly have stopped shifting goals quite as much recently. So they're 1 win, 5 draws, 5 losses start off the campaign. That 1 win was a 2-0 win against Raith Rovers, which was followed up by a 0-0 draw that you've just touched on there away to Johnstone, and a 1-0 loss against Partick Thistle. Not a good result, obviously, losing the game. And you look at the scoreline and say, well, they weren't pumped or anything like that, but all accounts has been Ross County didn't show too much in the game. I think Tony Docherty's been a bit prone to making excuses as well, which I don't think fans like to see. Certainly in my perspective, when I've had managers that just seem to come across. I've watched all his interviews after his games, and always seems to have something to blame. Whilst Ross County probably do have the quality to be, definitely have the quality to be winning a lot more than they have. Scored 11 goals this season. Ronan Hales scored 5 of them, but even his performances have been questioned a little bit at times. A couple of penalties in there, so 3 goals from open play for a player that isn't fantastic player. I'm not going to say he's not, but maybe if you want a player that's going to carry a team a little bit, he's not that guy. I think he's a penalty box player. That's where he's at his best. He's not going to dig a team out of a hole single-handedly like a Stephen Dobby, we've seen in previous years, for example, when someone stood out in a team that much. He's someone that needs the ball in the box. So I think it's been just ineffective. I think it's probably the word I'd use for a lot of their squad. They've got players that have been playing Premiership football. They've got James Scott, they've got Nicky Clark they can choose on to play up front with Ronan Hill, both of whom have seemed really ineffective, I think it's fair to say. Nicky Clark was a bit of an odd signing, I think, at the time as well, and they've got Scott, who's came in and not really... His career's just had a bit of a downward trajectory since those early days where he was so highly thought of in Motherwell. St Mirren didn't really kick on again. Iacovitti and Gallagher's been their centre-back partnership. I wasn't trying to be too insanely harsh on it. was trying to just think of one word in my little notebook that I could fit in to sort of sum them up. I did put donkey-ish, which is really mean.
Yeah.
But also is a bit like
Accurate.
Gallagher's been getting a bit of the donkey treatment, I think. And to be fair, he was getting eels like all game long from the Raith fans in the away end, and he did turn in a really good performance on the day. But otherwise, he's looked a bit sus at times.
Yeah.
When they've got Dylan Smith sitting on the bench, I'm a bit surprised by. He showed good flash as a young, local, talented centre back. I know he's local. Challenge coming up. He showed flashes in the Premiership. I remember seeing him get sent off in a game that maybe looked a bit raw, but early from. So they send him out on loan to Arbroath the first half of last season. Was outstanding, I thought. Gets recalled back. Right, he's going to be in the counter team. No, they get relegated. Right, surely natural time for him to step in, and he's still on the bench. I think he'd offer something a bit different, a bit more mobile at the back maybe as well. They've got like Cornelius as well that's came in, not played too much. Emsley has been involved. Jay Henderson's probably the only one. A player you're a big fan of course, from his time at Ayr, that's like been a young player that's had the chance to come in, and he's looked really bright at times. Mel Thompson made his debut against Raith and he's not been seen since. I don't know if he picked up a knock. I think he was wearing international duty and he wasn't in the squad for their most recent game. Might have still been travelling back, I'm not entirely sure, with the under-21s. He took his goal well though against Raith. He's someone that looks like he's got a bit about him. But overall, County just looked a bit stuffy sort of this season. And Fraser, my fact for you as well is that they have a 33-player squad. 3 players out on loan. It's listed as, they've got 32 players listed on the website.
A, B and a C team.
Pretty much, yeah, generally. They've got the squad listed on their website. Doesn't have Sean Mackey in it for some reason. I know he came in and got injured before his first game. I think he pulled up in the warm-up. I heard. That was the chat I heard on the streets. But 33 players in that squad. 4 goalkeepers, 9 defenders, 14 midfielders and 6 strikers. And I'm not sure who it is that said that, but you've heard managers. I'm sure lots of managers have said that it's difficult actually just managing a squad more than it is. The players playing probably are a lot easier to manage than the counted the 20 guys that aren't touching the pitch each week. It's probably a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit too much. Possibly that points to them being a little bit disjointed this season.
Yeah.
That there's no continuity. I think I do always find it interesting when managers say they need to trim the squad, but I guess it makes sense. Like if you turn up at training and there's like 66 eyes looking back at you, it's kind of difficult to organise that. So they possibly need to trim that in January and pick out who really is going to take them to the playoffs, because I think that's what they'll be looking at now. Be difficult to look any higher than that. And they've got the ability, they've got the players. Tony Docherty, if he gets a tune out of them like he did at Dundee, then they should be good. But
just to be sure, sorry, before you go on, you say make the playoffs. You do mean they are sitting in the playoffs right now?
Yeah.
Not the ones they want to be in.
They're not that far back actually. Ayr are on 17, they're on 8. Sorry, I think they're on 8 points.
Yeah, 9 points off.
So, 9 points is not. Ayr were languishing down in like 7th and 8th not too long ago. So, I think Tony Docherty gets a tune out of Jay Henderson and Ronan Hale, etc.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Oh, there's the quality in that. 100% of the way. That was my. I don't know. Gary Mackay-Steven's got. You're just trying to set me out there to slag Gary Mackay-Steven, aren't you? I'm not gonna bite on that one. But I did come away from that game. I think Raith could have got something. Like you've heard a lot of people speak about it since 2 chances cleared off the line, could have gone in. But I think overall, like County kind of just. I think they deserved the points at the end of the piece. To be fair. And I looked at the league table suddenly, I was like, they were like 6 points off the playoffs, or like 7 points off the playoffs. And you're like, oh, that's not anywhere near as far as you thought. So much football left to be played. My take is that I think they're actually going to get 4th. I think it's probably my take. It might be a bit of a hot take, I don't know.
No, I think it's fair.
Thank you. I said that to those Thistle fans in the pub the other day and they were a bit surprised. So
they've had a bad... Okay, they've had a bad... Well, they played 11 games, have won 1... Okay, 6 games. Let's say they've had 6 bad games. I doubt they're going to have equally as bad games towards the end of the season with a bit more solidity after Tony Dock sort of settles. They'll be absolutely fine. They've got quality. Teams like that don't stay down.
I've complained about Tony Docherty a little bit there. I do think he can get a tune out of these players. So I do think he's a good manager as well. I wasn't saying he's not.
Interesting with Callum Davidson though. Two big dogs.
Well, they'll be playing the big money to have the two of them.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
you'd
Two manager
argue
ages.
Callum Davidson's got a better CV than Tony Dock.
Possibly, yeah.
You're going back a few years for Tony Docherty. Okay, not that, maybe a year. And not so long ago, Callum Davidson was doing a double. Tony Docherty's only really got Dundee
That's it, yeah.
to point to, whereas Callum Davidson can really point to a very successful time at St Johnstone. So the dynamic there will be interesting. Tony Docherty is the number one.
Yeah. Well,
Callum Davidson is number two. I'm sure Callum Davidson, I'm sure there'll not be any too much like butting heads or anything, but who knows?
Suggesting any drama behind the scenes at Roscoe? We don't know. You never know.
Two big dogs coming up against. You know what happens when two big dogs come up against each other. You know, we saw it with Luke Maguire and I don't know. I didn't know where to go with that.
Luke and
I'm trying to think of another big dog. I was going to say you, but I don't want people thinking there is.
Producer Jack.
Producer Jack, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine Producer Jack and Luke Maguire coming up, because that's two alphas right there. So, but yeah, that's my bad point, badly made.
Terribly made, yes.
Yep.
But yeah, my take is they'll finish fourth and have a real shot in the playoffs. This is really big picture hot takes here.
Yeah.
I reckon they could pull that. They might not. There's a good chance they won't.
Just cover all bases there.
I'll just say that as well.
But they also could get relegated.
Yeah. But they might. So welcome. Thanks for watching Joga Bonito. Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah, they might.
No, it's true though.
But I do think they could catch that ground up. They win 2 games in a row, win back-to-back games. They're 3 points off the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? Potentially, probably not, but they're in touch and distance again. They're more than capable of doing that again. When the season gets going tough, the one advantage of having a 33-player squad is when other teams start getting injuries, they've got players they can pull upon. Probably too many of them. They've got their B team, they've got their C team. They'll pull up on them, bring them in, and possibly just have enough to get through the season when it does get tough, when injuries start adding up. Every team has their injuries at a certain point. Ross County might have enough to get through those games, get through those tight games when they do pick up their injuries a little bit, but a lot of work to be done. And I was going to give them a 3 because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking they can make the playoffs, but I'm just basing it purely off what we've seen so far, and it's a 2 because it's been shite. Right, do you want to move on to your next team?
Let's do it. My final team.
Your final team?
My final team.
We're there already. Is it Raith Rovers?
It is not. No, we're saving the worst till last, Callum. So
I'm not saying that. Keep going.
You didn't bite there.
Well, Airdrie bombed the table, my friends.
No, so my last team is Queen's Park, and I'm going to give them a 4.
4, okay. Seems like you're thinking about that.
Yeah, because I realised I'd forgotten what I'd...
Okay.
But I think a 4 is... Would you agree?
Yeah, I could.
They've not had a fantastic season, but if you look at their squad, they're in a fairly flattering position, really.
You can almost give them a 5. I'm going to agree 4. You could maybe sneak. I push towards like close to 5 than 3, for example, because I think the points they've got points on the board.
That's a low bar, getting points on the board, but they do have points on the board. So
they picked up points. That's what football's all about, my friend. So.
And sorry, this is my team, so I should know. But it was Ross County away, I think, that they won. Yeah. So that's worthy of a few points, considering the quality in the Ross County squad and the fact that Ross County are their equal, or you know what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, they're a direct rival. So really peculiar. I think they owe a lot of those points that we've given them to one man in particular.
They do.
Fowler.
It's been a revelation.
He has been a revelation. What a career he's had. From
fun.
The Oz to the Gulf and back again, or the Gulf to the Oz and back again, and then to the south side of Glasgow. Why not? He's a really good player, and you flagged him to me start of the season. You said
first game, so I honestly saw him.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take credit for
no,
you know what I mean, but heard a bit about him in the playoffs. Heard a bit about him in not the playoffs. Heard a bit about him in the League Cup group stage. I was like, he maybe has something to him. But you could see 10 minutes in to his first game of Queen's Park. There's a real player there. He doesn't even score in that game against Raith, but real talent, and been injured the last couple of weeks, and him dropping out Mikey Roof as well. They bought in from Dumbarton. Wasn't a name I was jumping at for a championship club as much as I like Mikey Roof. I liked him as a League 2 and a League 1 striker. Bringing him in, if you want to hang your hat on him for a championship season, they're not hanging their hat on him. They're hanging their hat on Mr. Fowler instead. Yeah. But He's injured till the new year as well, from what I understand. So Josh Fowler's been doing quite a bit of heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think.
Has he scored 5 of their 8 goals? Is that the fact?
Yeah, well, yeah. No,
Sorry if I stole that from.
That was the exact tip of my tongue, Callum.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say the most alarming stat is I think any team that's scoring less than 1 goal a game has a lot to be worried about. Queen's Park have scored 8 in their 11 games, and of those 8, Josh Fowler has scored 5 of them, which every team needs a goal scorer.
But if it's 60% of your goals,
Exactly.
Play, yeah.
I think when someone's scoring that many and is that reliant upon, then it just shows you what happens when they get injured. And they're in a bit of a sticky position right now. They've drawn 2 and lost 3 of their last 5. They've come up against Airdrie, who are, as we've discussed, a bit of a basket case at the moment. And they drew 0-0 at home.
Fraser, your facts for you as well. At home, they have only picked up 2 points in their 5 games, 2 draws, without a win at.
They're obviously
Lesser
missing.
Hampden.
They're missing bigger Hampden.
Big. Is that what they call it these days?
Get Queen's Park into bigger or better Hampden.
Yeah, well, I heard
Lesser Hampden.
Ayr United playing there next. I think West Hampden. They got Queen's Park away.
Yeah.
They're only taking 250 fans. I heard.
Ayr fans are fuming about that.
Which, well, I think every club is a bit of. To be honest, I'll nail my flag to the mast. It is a joke. Like, you're only getting 200 odd fans in that.
It's more than Celtic and Rangers have been getting it. The others stadium in recent times.
Well, that was your sort of aimless, pointless dig there, but you're not wrong. 200, yeah. What could have been such a cool stadium? Like, I walk past it every time we go to Scotland games, and I'm like, what's the point of this thing? 250 away fans in the Championship is a bit of a joke. Like, what could be such a
it's a nice looking
going to Hampden pretty much, you know.
Yeah, it's a nice little facility, and it would be great for.
It's a good facility, yeah.
Yeah, Scotland under 20, or not even under 20, like Scotland under 19 matches.
Scotland team train there, don't they?
Yeah, Scotland team train. It's a fantastic for youth games, youth cup finals, like the Scottish Cup youth final should be there, or like it should be the kind of venue that is used for grassroots football and things. For Queen's Park in the second tier of Scottish football, it's like, yeah, as you say, like Ayr in theory could have brought 49,000 fans to previous Queen's Park games, and now they're getting 250. It's just, it is a bit rubbish. However, that aside, Queen's Park.
That was a horrible tangent there. Just complaining about facilities.
I guess potentially that could be leading into the reason that they're not doing so well at home is just because they don't feel at home yet, and it's not got the atmosphere that maybe they would like. Not that an empty Hampden had a huge amount of.
Wasn't that intimidating?
But it's difficult to look at Queen's Park with any enthusiasm right now. I don't want to bash Queen's Park because they're a historic club, obviously, and I quite enjoyed seeing them do well. But without Josh Fowler, Callum Ferry's not doing particularly well at the moment. Looking a little bit shaky in goals. Who's a fantastic goalkeeper,
shot stopper, certainly on his day. Yeah.
You're a big fan. I'm a equally as big fan as well. Really good goalkeeper.
But he's not shown it for a while, since Ibrox really, which is the case with a lot of Queen's Park.
Well, I think that's the last time they showed any kind of.
Well, they beat Ray 4-0 at Starts Park. Other than that would seem to be a blip after. Seb Drodd's playing up front.
Yeah,
not shown a huge.
And he got the
since
winner.
Hampden. Since Ibrox, I should say. Like, obviously, for someone that's done the headlines in the day, relying on players from their 21 squad, they still have that. They obviously stripped back on the academy over the summer with the huge amounts of money they needed to cut back on, allegedly millions. So they still have some players in their 21s they've had to sort of fill the bench with. There's a lot. We didn't want to go for every single team in the league and say, well, if they lost their key player, they'd be gubbed, because you could pretty much do that for 8 of the teams in the league. But probably rings true for Queen's Park, because you do look through their team 1 to 11. You got Ewan Murray, Charlie Fox defending a goal with Callum Ferry in it. That's solid. They've got Louis Longridge as a good player. Championship again. They've been hanging their hat on him as a centre mid this season though, for someone that's a winger. He's capable of doing a job in there. But from the start of the season, you go into day 1 of the season with him playing centre mid, and they've got Roddy McGregor, I think, is one of my favourite players as well. Grant Savoury, he's brilliant as well. Both of them injury issues, big time. Grant Savoury hadn't started the game for about 2 years, pretty much as well. He's not going to come in, and you can't rely on him. That's what I'm trying to say here, certainly. So there's quality. Aidan Connolly as well. I've not even mentioned, probably like one of my favourite football players. Full stop. I love him. He's put in such a shift as well as having quality. But it's a shallow squad after that. You know, like Ricky Ward, I think, started either on the weekend or the week before, and he was a player I saw a bit of at Stirling Albion because I get along and see them. I've mentioned before, obviously, when I can. Last season, he looked decent on loan, but another one chucking him into a championship game. Another player I really like is Carlo Pignatiella. I said that right. Because I've watched him for years. I like his style. His hair and his tash and all that. It looks classy. But I also like a player that can play right mid, right back, centre mid, stroll around the place. I like that. But then he's coming into, like, again, a championship club. He's probably a candy player because he can fill a few roles, but it's a cut-off of quality to the other teams in the division. And yeah, the rest of the season, do you think Queen's Park avoid 9th place, or do you think they're going to get sucked into that?
No, I think 9th or 10th for them. I've not seen enough quality from them. They don't have the depth that other teams have. You pit them up against any other squad in the championship, I don't think they're competing across a 36 game season. Airdrie, their 0-0 draw against Airdrie, I think, just kind of symbolised what their season will be. I think they're coming up against the weakest team in the league and at home, and it's this sort of damp squib. Away from home against Arbroath, who at the start of the season, that's a game that Queen's Park would have been pinpointing as somewhere that they want to go and take points, and they got turned over. Really, as we discussed earlier, battered in that first half in particular. Showed a little bit of fight. Tim Scott's goal was nicely taken, but it's just too little too late. Arbroath outclassed them. So teams like that, you'd be expecting Queen's Park, a full-time team, to be going to Arbroath and putting up more of a fight, and they lay down to it. And then you look at Morton, Dunfermline, Raith Rovers, Ayr United. Are Queen's Park going to realistically compete with these teams across a league season? I'm a bit worried Ayr United are going to Lesser Hampton, as you said, at the weekend. Ayr drew with them obviously earlier in the season. It's not a foregone conclusion at all, but you'd like to think that with the way that Ayr are playing just now and the way that Queen's Park are playing, it should be a comfortable victory for Ayr. But yeah, if they can get Josh Fowler back, and they can.
I think he's not long term.
Sorry,
he's not long term, from what I understand. So,
right, yeah,
he'll be back.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about his contract.
Oh, sorry.
God. No, yeah, if they get him back, he can get firing. But also, if they can just sort of spread out the load amongst the rest of their team.
Pause on that one. Yeah, that's a bit of a.
Behave yourself. Then they might have a chance. But I'm not overly optimistic. I probably prefer the look of the Airdrie squad, really.
Possibly, but I think where Queen's Park can win games, to give the other side of it, is that Josh Fowler can pick up a goal from anywhere, can pick up 2 goals from anywhere. He's so bright, quick. If you've not seen this guy play, he's box offers, I think, and when he gets a chance in the box, it's not just that he's got all the rest of this to his game. He gets a chance in the box, he will take it. He's been taking it. I thought there was a real player in there, but sometimes young strikers like that can be a bit frustrating, but he takes his chances. I think he'll be in a Motherwell or a St Mirren shirt next season. I really think he's got that quality. Or you see Roman Burrell kick on, to move to League One or in England, something like that. Teams will be watching this guy. But he can nick a goal or two, and then Queen's Park have the quality at the back that I think Ewan Murray, in terms of centre-backs, Fox next to him, Ewan Murray's probably one of the best defenders, top 3 probably. Gallagher can kind of do similar things, Ross Canty. Defenders at defending the box, crosses coming in, Paul Hanlon does similar, big, strong defenders win their headers. And if Queen's Park nick a goal for Fowler, they can defend, hold on to it through them. I think there's a game plan there. Sean Crichton, I think he's done a fairly good job as their manager as well this season. So they can pick up games through that. Maybe I'm really oversimplifying that. At times there's quality in areas. Aidan Connolly can whip in a good cross, for example, as well. Set pieces. There could be a chance for them to win games as well. I don't think they're written off at all. I'm not saying you're saying they're written off at all either, but what to be done. I think they need to show a few more signs just around the rest of the pitch, away from Fowler, that they can kick on. But it's going to be tough for the size of their squad, really.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, take us away, Callum.
Where does that leave us?
That leaves us right at the very end, right at the very bottom.
Right, the last team the one people have been waiting for, sitting on the edge of their seats, waiting to get. I'll double check what I decided. My final rating would be.
Raith Rovers.
What?
Time to Raith Rovers.
Oh, Raith Rovers, right. So people make quite a few mean jokes with a very similar sounding word to that football club. I was like, I beg your pardon. That Pat is gone. Raith Rovers, I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Down the middle. Timing of this again. Same with Dunfermline. Like you asked me a couple of weeks ago, it'd be a bit low in Raith. Like I'm trying not to be too like reactionary. It's been a tough few weeks from a Raith Rovers perspective. I need to sort of start this thing off as well with the.
Is this a sort of? This is a safe space.
Thank you very much. We could go for a long time here. Like if you're not, go stick the kettle on, get your feet up, tune in to me. Sort of venting. A little bit here. It's just been a bit frustrating. I do need to start off the whole thing by saying we've mentioned before when we've done the podcast, but I will just like directly say, obviously I've done some work for Raith Rovers. People on a match, someone commented on TikTok and said, POV, you saw this guy at Ross County away. So I'm walking up and down sides, I'm doing my camera stuff, pitch side obviously. So I do work with the club as well, and you've got a bit of skin in the game as well. You've met Dylan Easton, Lewis Stevenson. They were good guys as well. Obviously,
Lewis
brilliant.
Gibson as well.
Lewis Gibson. Scott Brown was chatting to you for a bit as well. You
yeah.
put them in your cut and one of our TikToks as well. But I've got a bit of skin in the game, and then I've got a bit of. I don't have any real inside information at Raith Rovers, but there's the odd whisper here and there. No one's going to tell me what's happening with the big stuff, but I might know about a signing a day before, for example, to get a media post ready. But I haven't got big stuff. I'm just a volunteer at the club. I do a bit of media, so I do have a few things, and I don't want to. It's difficult to go in and if I wanted to bash the players or the manager. I'm not saying I want to do that anyway, but what I can give you. I can give this perspective as I'm also a Raith fan. I've always been a Raith fan, despite my accent, of course. Family team, Kirkcaldy Lynx. I keep up to date with what the Raith fans are saying for the most part. For the most part, because I don't want to hear it sometimes as well. Because Raith fans can be quite reactionary as well, and I can sort of give you a collated view of Raith opinions if you want to hear him, Fraser.
Well, I can read out. So Callum sent me a script because obviously you can't say too much, but he did send me a script that I have to read out. So it starts off like this. Raith Rovers are terrible this season. Absolutely. I'm joking. No, you take it away.
That was, so I can give you a collective view though of Raith Rovers fans' opinions, with a bit of my opinion in there as well. But I think frustrations have definitely grown. Certainly you don't need to look too far on Twitter and stuff to see that Barry Robson's been getting a fair bit of flack from sort of the fan base as well. And I don't know if it's just result driven because the club aren't sitting in too bad a place in the table. If you look at it, there was talk of having the quality in the squad to maybe be the ones to push St Johnstone a little bit, and that's sort of gone away, of course. But there's a lot of clubs trying to achieve similar things in this division. That's probably one of the most frustrating things you'll agree about being a Championship fan, is that Ayr United are doing all the right things, trying to kick the club on, be a Premiership club. But so is Raith Rovers, so is Dunfermline, Falkirk beforehand as well. Morton would love to be a Premiership team again, I'm sure. Everyone's setting these goals. How do we do it in the next 3 to 5 years? But there's only a certain amount of teams that can get promoted. Thistle, of course, want to be back up there again. So there's frustrations from that point of view, but I do think the play style of Robson is probably what can be frustrating. And I've not really had anyone say a good word about it recently. There's a Raith podcast called the Oh No No podcast, which is a really good podcast. Any Raith fans would know it. Certainly in terms of their consistency, they do a pre-game and a post-game podcast, and we want to hear the opinions of Raith fans, which can be quite unfiltered. I don't agree with everything they say, but that's the point of having a forum of debate. You can go on and say what you want, and I've certainly heard fans not hold back on their criticism of the team and the manager. If you've seen the last few games, it's been quite tough to watch. So a run of one win in the last 6 after a decent start to the season. But if you've not seen a Barry Robson Raith team play before then, so as I say, I've not had much sort of good stuff said about them recently. But the team went on a 16-game undefeated run from the end of last season coming into the start of this season, and it's a lot easier to have your praise when you're winning. The play style's not changed incredibly, but I do think the way that teams play against Raith has changed a lot. I'm seeing that from my pitch side perspective. So how Raith play is, Barry Robson uses his players as, they're almost a bit more like, I don't want to say pawns, but pieces to prevent the other team from playing. They're not out there to really like
play to their strengths.
Always, potentially, always. You don't always see that happening. So, for example, you've got wing backs in the team, and the wing backs aren't on the pitch to like take on around the outside and whip crosses into the box. Although when you've got someone like Lewis Stevenson, who I think some of the frustration has been with Raith fans is that everyone knows Lewis Stevenson can whip a ball in with his left foot, but you've not seen him do it much. I'll give you the other side of the argument. What the wing backs are on the pitch, I think, for Raith to do is to arrive in the box and cause a bit of chaos, to give you some of these like technical sort of football terms, I guess, like to cause like overloads, that kind of thing. You do see that a lot from Raith, not winning the ball on the turnover, being quick. Josh Mullen did it with quite a lot of success. Obviously, Josh Mullen, player you like, was a winger before. He's dropped into that wing back role. Maybe doesn't quite have the mobility he did as a winger in his younger days, but he's popping up in the box scoring goals. You saw Lewis Stevenson's goal. We spoke to him about where he was. For some reason, he was in the 6-yard box. You remember that goal he scored against Dunfermline? That's what I think the wing backs are on the pitch too. So when fans are like battering on and complaining that the wing backs aren't bombing up, putting crosses in the box, that's probably because they've been asked to do this job. Now that's where a fan might have a different view to a manager, and who's right, who's wrong, I don't know. This is what I'm saying. I'm not going to give my opinion on it too much. That's the two sides of it. Again, it's the same with the midfielders. He loves his two industrious midfielders in Scott Brown, Ross Matthews, and Raith fans have been saying for quite a long time that the two of them don't really play too well alongside each other. At the same time, they were the partnership that went on that really long undefeated run. I can see the argument that they can clash at times, and you would have seen that first goal. Actually, the one and only person that saw any recording of my pitchside goal of the opening goal, Mark McKenzie's against Raith, was you. I sent it to you, and probably the most concerning thing about the whole goal was that Stuart Bannigan picked up the ball. And I've been praising Stuart Bannigan earlier on. It probably helps when he's got about 10 yards of space around him, which is just... It should never happen in a championship game. I don't think championship players are used to having that much time on the ball. Certainly at that level, these guys could probably drop down a couple levels. Love having that time on the ball. It's a bit unusual because Ross Matthews, Scott Brown, they see a ball and they will charge at it. They will, like a dog to a stick, or a bone. They charge. And at times that then... what's behind you in midfield? Nothing. So Sean Burns came in at times. He's the popular player. The Raith fans and who probably thought, I've heard, the manager's been a bit stubborn at times by not bringing him in. He certainly brought him in for the Fife derby. It didn't make too big a difference. I think Barry Robson been quite reactionary to the opposition, how they set up. I think that's how he uses his players at times. For example, we played Ross County, played with a number 6. So instead, he rotates the pack around. Instead of putting Sean Byrne in there, he puts young Kai Montague, who's a really talented 18-year-old midfielder. He's got a lot of energy, presses well. He put him in at number 10 to sort of sit on Ross Doherty, and he ultimately went off at half-time. It's the same in the attacking areas that Paul McMullins came in and be playing as a striker, and anyone that knows Paul McMullen would know that he's not naturally a striker. He's had most of his success in wide areas, but Paul McMullen comes in because he's quick and he hassles and he really makes life difficult, and he does have a good engine on him, and there's been times where he did put some really good performances in, playing up front at the start of the season, just that link-up play. But I do think a big part of him being up there is that he knocks his pan in, and anytime a centre-back tries to come out the ball, put Paul Mullins on them. Same with Dylan Easton, who's never been a player. I would never say Dylan Easton was a lazy player, but you've seen a real increase in he always knocks his pan in as well for the team under Robson, because that's what every player needs to do. So there's a lot of reliance on Dylan Neeson, though, to be the guy to make something happen. And I think Dylan Neeson's the kind of character. We spoke to him, we asked him about that kind of thing, where he likes to be the main man in a team. He will say that, and there's that pressure on him, and I think he can walk away and he won't if he doesn't put a performance in 1 week, he's not going to completely drop his shoulders and lose his confidence. You do see some technical players like that do. He's happy to take that responsibility on him, but if it doesn't work out, it can then be a bit maybe frustrating, because who else is going to make it happen at times? And that's not me slagging off his teammates there. I'm trying to be careful what I say there, because I don't want it to sound like that at all. There's tons of talent around him, but I think he's the one that's given that license a little bit more just to go and make something happen, Dylan, but it doesn't come to fruition every week. And you're now seeing, I think this is where I've been talking for a long time here, Fraser. I'm still tuned in here. The thing to me that you've seen the main difference in the Ayr United game is kind of the case study I could give you from when we played them. We touched on it already. We played Ayr, start the season, Ayr, centre-back split every time, play out from the back, bang, 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 got himself in trouble, terrible bit of distribution from David Mitchell, gave the ball to Dylan Easton, he scored within 30 seconds in the rest of that half. the crowd, the Ayr United crowd was really getting at the team, probably at Scott Brown for continually doing this, passing the ball to centre-backs. And honestly, like, the Raith attackers can be like hyenas at times, just waiting for the ball to be passed out because bang, they'll be on them. Teams recently haven't been passing out from the back, understandably so. Dunfermline didn't mess around on the ball at the back. Ayr United then came to Starts Park, a completely different place. That would, the centre-backs never came to get the ball short. Scott Brown obviously told his boys, just knock it long, make this game difficult for them, took the goals in a clever way, and Raith didn't really have the creative answers on the ball to break them down, because Raith have done such a good job under Robson at like capitalising on mistakes and winning every like second ball or third ball, you know, even when that breaks, Raith are on it and they turn it over and get on the attack really quick. Teams aren't mucking around on the ball anymore. So I think the question is to Robson, you know, and Andy Kirk and the coaching team there, is that if teams are going to be like that, they're not going to, you know, give you the chance. If anything, it's credit to them that teams aren't mucking around on the ball anymore, anywhere near a Raith, you know, attack. They're not passing it around. It's credit to them. They're knocking it along. Right. How do you answer that? You know, I'm not saying they've been found out at all, but there's the question of how do you respond to that now? Like, and what's the next step? That's why they're in the job. You know what I mean? And there's pressure on them. There's 2 big home games coming up, and the Raith fans, you know, verbally weren't very happy with Barry Robson after the Dunfermline game. That's not me giving any inside information there. You could hear the songs from the stands, and if you pick up maybe 1 point from those 2 games at home, I don't think it's going to do too much more to sort of help with the pressure there. So questions probably to be answered at this moment in time. That's where we are. It's easy to sing the praises when you're winning, but teams have, you know, changed how they play against Raith a little bit now. They're not giving them that opportunity quite now. So probably those questions need to be answered.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting seeing just how quickly it can go from being, because not so long ago, I think the game at Starts Park between yourselves and St Johnstone, that was the top of the table clash. Both teams' fortunes have gone very differently since then. So,
well, St Johnstone have sort of dwindled a little bit, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
But they sort of continued on with their momentum, and you guys have won 4 points from 18 or something, which is just not good form at all. And it's something needs to change there. So, from Raith's point of view, though, you've got the tools and you've got the quality that if you want to go on a good run and get back into some good form, you've got the ability to do it. It's not like a Queen's Park or an Airdrie, or maybe lacking in a lot of areas. You've got strikers, you've got good attacking midfielders, you've got very capable central midfielders and defenders. So you'll be absolutely fine. And I think you'll be up there.
Reaffirming talk.
But yeah, it is alarming, and I think Barry Robson and his backroom staff will be scratching their heads at the moment, trying to think how to fix it.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a fix. Basically, doing the same thing it's probably not going to quite work out, just given recent results. Certainly, there's a confidence thing in there as well. Of course, there is. Some of the players just need to. You don't want to pull the blame on a manager. Players need to, play into the system that they're given. Some of the guys, won't be too happy with their performances, and there's been changes from Robson, but not like wholesale changes. I mean, he's changed things around the edges. So it'll be interesting to see these 2 home games coming up, where he'll be well aware that he needs to sort of turn it around more to get the fans sticking on his side. Raith only scored once, I think, in the last 5, maybe 6 games, which was that 3-0 win against Arbroath. And you know what? This almost does sum up Raith, where Raith really do win their games under Robson in moments, if you know what I mean. And that Arbroath game, the moments all went Raith's way. Like, they got the goals at the right time, finished them off. Whilst there's games where just Raith don't take those chances. And it's really key moments in Raith games where a lot of the play can be quite scrappy, broken up. They play it long from Josh Ray most of the time, and it's just waiting for those moments. Away from home, Ayr United capitalise on the one mistake that Ayr made in that. Well, they made a few mistakes, but they capitalise on a mistake, and it's the only goal in the game. Morton away, you saw the goal, the Dylan Easton header from the long ball from Josh Ray. Again, a mistake. We've been speaking highly of the Morton goalkeeper today. That was probably the one time he's made a mistake this season. Rushes out his goal, Dylan Easton taps in. These are the moments in games you need to go your way, and they've not really been going Raith's way, in the last few weeks. but at the same time, you probably want to be a bit more in control of your destiny at the same time with the players. Certainly with the players and the talent that Raith do have in that squad. They've got more than enough to turn it around, certainly. But as I say, I think my main takeaway is there's more questions and answers at this exact moment in time. A big loss, just to touch on it, to finish off as well, as Richard Chin, who I've raved about to you as well, because he's so exciting. He's the kind of player that I think he always knows what he's going to do. So certainly the opposition don't know what he's going to do, which is that like really entertaining type of winger. He's unfortunately out for the next 2-3 months, which is a big loss as well. Like he was the one that had a bit of a recent weeks. Not to dig out his teammates, still Lewis Vaughan's injured at the moment as well, but he's the one that has that like little spark. Like he's had that little spark recently, and he was fantastic against Arbroath, got his first goal for the club in that game, and got injured in that game actually. So I think he felt his knee, and like I don't think he noticed really at the time, but he's out for 3 months unfortunately. So he's a big miss, but otherwise enough talent in that squad to be probably performing better more than the results recently. And it started as a mini slump. It's come a bit more of a slump now. Teams go through spells like this in the season all the time, and you just got to see what happens next, really. It's difficult to know what's going to happen, but 2 big home games. Thistle's going to be really tough, we know that, but the Raith players be well aware that after a pretty poor Fife derby, you have to be honest on that. They weren't really at it in the game overall. Had a couple half moments where they could have scored, but like they weren't really at it, and the fans won't put up with that. To be honest, the Raith fans won't be happy with that, certainly in a Fife derby, so they'll need to answer back at Starts Park, and the pressure's on them a little bit, but what did they say about pressure?
Makes diamonds.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Or what was Alan Shearer's quote?
Pressure's for tyres.
Pressure's for tyres.
Pressure's for tyres. So I'm hopeful they can turn it around. There's so much talent in that squad. Like we don't need to go through and list all the players in the Raith Rovers. People are well aware of who those players are, but finding the best way to use them. I'll say Jordan Docherty this season though as well. He's a Rolls Royce player for me. So I think he's in the group as well. There's every player probably kind of comes together in that scenario. They've not quite been at their best, but Jordan Docherty on his day, I'll tell you what, he can stroll it. But yeah, questions to be taken. As I say, Raith play quite a direct, pacey, hard-running style of play. That's not going to go from the team. But for a team that play direct football, I'll tell you, probably the surprising stat is that like Raith haven't been outpossessed in a game for quite a while. Like they end up with like 55%. I think we had 55% possession in that game against Ayr, which doesn't feel like it should be the case. Yeah. But it ends up being the case because I think the team's quite happy for them to knock the ball around the centre. It's a lot of centre back into midfield, back to the centre back, out to the wing back, and then knock it long and lose possession of the ball ultimately. So it's probably finding ways, especially in possession, just to sharpen up that a little bit more, answer those questions, hopefully silence some of the critics. There's a lot of football left to be played this season. Raith aren't in a bad position. They're just outside the playoffs, so no one should panic in Kirkcaldy too much. I don't think there's been a bit of panic. I've been panicking a bit on the sidelines. I tell you, it could be frustrating. No one likes seeing their team lose, certainly. These next 2 games, though, they're huge in the course of the season for the Rovers. So have I covered that okay?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus?
No, I think you're all good, Dennis.
Perfect.
Well covered.
Thank you very much. Right. That's the full championship.
That's the full championship.
That was quite nerdy, wasn't it? We need to go outside a bit more.
It's nearly the end of the season.
I know, yeah. We've been here for so long, Believe it, Fraser's got a girlfriend, believe it or not, Anyway, right. Should we move into some challenges?
Yes,
right.
We shall.
Let's do it. Fraser, are you ready to be challenged?
Oh, I'm ready to be challenged, yes.
Mentally.
Physically?
No, that was...
just mentally, yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Just mentally, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I sort of trying to say like there's more to come there. There's not more to come. It's a mental challenge coming up for you. We've got 3 challenges today. I've got 2 of them, and you've got 1 of them. And we've been teasing that we're going to do a big fun challenge, something to do with where football players are from. And we've had a look at the time, and we've really gone over, I think, on that championship thing. Yep. We said there was no time pressure, but we'll be here. The sun has started to set here in Mulgai. I need to drive home with some daylight. So we're going to save that for next week, but trust me, it's going to be worth the wait. It's quite a big one, so we thought we'd save it.
We want to nail it.
What we're going to do is we're going to keep it fun. So we've got 2 challenges. I'm going to give you the first one.
Please do.
If you're ready for it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a Joga Bonito, sort of classic style. We're going back to here. We're going back to basics. We're stripping it back.
Nice.
Just a nice, fun challenge.
Okay.
Type of thing we've done well with before. Right, Fraser. 1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, 1, 2.
5, 6, 7. Okay. All right. Fraser. In the top 5 leagues of Scottish football, there are
5. Oh, interesting.
top 5 tiers, I should say.
Does that include Highland and Lowland?
Yeah. All right. I'll get through it this time. Fraser. In the top 5 tiers of Scottish football, there are 7 clubs whose home kit is maroon. Can you name them all?
Easy.
Okay.
Easy peasy. Hearts.
Hearts is one.
Heart and Midlothian.
Hold on.
Stenhouse Muir
Stenny is another one.
Football Club. You can't keep that.
That was a horrible noise.
Sorry, that was just had to back it, Chris. And Kelty Hearts, of course.
Kelty Hearts, the other Hearts. Yeah, that's 3. You've got 4 left to go.
It's not actually going to be that easy. Linlithgow Rose.
Linlithgow, very good. The Linlithgow Rose are indeed one of the teams. The first Lowland team on here.
And obviously Trinent Juniors as well. No?
Just Trinent these days.
Oh, sorry, just
No,
Trinent.
drop the juniors.
My bad.
Very good. You're flying through this. You've got 2 left.
Sorry, Mr. Trinent. 2 more teams across. Right, okay. We've hit a bit of a wall here. Have I missed any biggies?
You have 1.
How big?
Pretty big. Second biggest one.
Second biggest.
Oh. I'm not really giving you hints. I'm not giving you hints for it yet.
Second biggest club.
Which SPFL clubs have you said?
Stenny, Kelty, Hearts.
Yeah, there's one more. Obviously, we're saying Kelty and Hearts there. Not just
Sorry.
Stanley Kelty Hearts. Yeah, you've got 1 more to get.
I can't think of any in the Premiership right now. Motherwell.
No. It's not maroon.
There's a lot of maroon.
I'll give you that. They've got a maroon second colour. We're talking maroon as their first. As their primary kit colour.
Okay, I'll give you that. Varchek on Motherwell, but no.
Sort of playing an amber, don't they?
I'm just trying to make my way through the leagues here. Thistle, St Johnstone, Arbroath. There we
go. Arbroath, indeed. Yeah, you've got 1 more.
Okay.
You're going to get your hint. They're a Highland League team.
Yeah.
You might do well to get them. Now, I did
Inverurie Local Works.
No, I did a little tester on this one. I was
Forest
actually
Mechanics.
No, I was in the pub with a guy I just met. One of my pals, Ross. Shout out to Samuel. Didn't recognise me, but then I told him I did the podcast and he'd seen all the clips. So I did this as a test one when I came up. Months ago, actually, in the summer, in pre-season, back in July. I was going to give this one to you and Luke, but it never came up. Did this with him. He got this team really quickly. And I was like,
did he?
Oh wow.
Where's he from?
Falkirk. That's not a hint though. I was like, oh wow, good for you, Samuel. Samuel's got ball knowledge. Can Fraser follow it up? You got the Lowland League ones a lot quicker than him.
Yeah.
And things were actually sitting in Lithgow when I gave him this question. He should have got the Lithgowers quicker.
Yeah. Well, I was a bit unsure on Lithgowers because I thought maybe they're more red than maroon, but who's a Highland League? For Martin.
Nah. I feel like you're just guessing every Highland League team.
I'm going to have to... it's not Bucky, it's not Brora, it's not for Martin, Inverurie or Forest Mechanics. Huntley?
No.
I
don't believe so anyway.
Devonvale?
No.
I think I might I'm not going to get this, I don't think.
I'll do your final VAR check just to make sure. We are correct. Huntley sort of black and yellow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And then Brora's more of like a red, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just going to double check that because I know Brora is a reddish colour. I'm going to make sure you've not got. I'm pretty sure.
Brecon City?
They're red as well, yeah. Yeah,
Pending
they're
red.
finding the beginning K. Keith Maroon.
How did he get that?
I don't know, he just plucked it really quickly as well.
Really?
He was like, Hearts, obviously, Kelty, Keith, obviously.
Where is Keith?
Highlands, mate.
Yeah.
So they're playing the Highland League.
Brecon are not in the Highlands, and they're in the Highland League.
Oh, well, not for long. Right, should we move on to the next challenge?
That was a good challenge. I enjoyed that.
Done well on that.
I'm happy with that.
Done well there, yeah.
6 out of 7's decent ball knowledge, but not perfect. So
You've got something good lined up.
Scotland women.
Yes.
will be playing in Casablanca tomorrow night against Morocco,
Very exciting.
and in Dunfermline on Tuesday night.
Not quite as exciting.
Against Switzerland.
Yeah. But, sorry, that's not fair. Exciting.
Exciting if you're
Just Dunfermline's not
Caroline
exciting.
Weir.
Very exciting for Caroline Weir.
Yeah.
She's going to grace the turf of her favoured club.
Yeah. And did you see the last time she played on that pitch was a birthday party?
A birthday party. I saw
Quality.
that.
Love that. That's...
Were you doing a Fife accent there?
No, I actually was.
Birthday.
I promise I wasn't.
Oh.
But in honour of this doubleheader, this kind of ever so slightly meaningless doubleheader, I thought I'd set you a challenge.
Okay.
But it's quite exciting. You know, the World Cup draw is made at the start of November in a couple of weeks time. So Scotland will find out their fate, who they'll have in the World Cup draw. They're in League B. My goodness. So it's quite exciting. So,
well, my knowledge of women's football, there's some people, there's worse, hopefully. But I'm here to learn as well, Fraser.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
here to learn.
you're going
I'm
to
here to learn. You know, some of the viewers might know more, some of the viewers might know less. We're here to learn as a collective. Fraser, take it away, my friend.
okay. So, Callum, I have set you a challenge. Can you name the top 10 scorers for the Scottish women national team in history?
All time.
All time. There's some big names on here.
Okay.
This is difficult. There's some
not so big names.
Recent names. There's some less recent names. But we'll see how you get on.
Number one's got to be a lot. Julie Fleeton.
Oh, Callum. Yes, that is. She makes the top 10 list of all time in women's football. Never mind Scotland. But what a fantastic player! From Ayr United to San Diego Spirit to Arsenal. What a player! I will. This might not make the short form, but for the long form, Julie Fleeting. This fact that I found out today when I was reading up on her. Not only is she a member of the British Empire, not only was she inducted into the Scottish Football Hall of Fame recently, but she took Ayr United to the Scottish Cup final in 2001. And do you know who they were playing against?
Oh, Kilmarnock, yeah. You told me this. I was like, you asking me or?
Kilmarnock.
Thank you for trying to make me look clever there. Like, yeah, of course I know it was in the Women's Scottish Cup final in 2001.
But Ayr United don't make enough about this. I also, looking back, Ayr United made it to 3 Scottish Cup finals from like 1998 to 2001. Anyway, beside the point, Ayr United, Kilmarnock, Scottish Cup final 2001 at Almond Stadium in Livingston, and it was 3 each in that game. And guess who scored all 3 goals for Ayr United?
Julie Fleeting.
Julie Fleeting. Unfortunately, Ayr lost. So Julie Fleeting has scored a hat-trick in a Scottish Cup final and lost. So that's how good she is. But a fantastic player. 116 goals for Scotland.
Right. Sticking in with great Arsenal players. Is Kim Little on here?
Fantastic. Yes, she is. She's third on the list.
Okay.
Can you roughly guess if Julie Fleeting's got 116 goals, how many's Kim Little got?
46.
That's a great guess. But no, 59.
But no. Wasn't that good a guess? I was 13 off.
It actually is, because
I was in a ballpark.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's third on the list on 59.
Keeping up with this sort of more recent sort of taste to this, does Erin Cuthbert crack it?
Oh, of course she does. Of course. This is a good list. There's quality throughout this list. Erin Cuthbert is joint 5th. 23 goals.
Okay. And counting.
You might be surprised at who she's joint with, but we'll get to that. So, Julie Fleeting, Kim Little, Erin Cuthbert. You've taken out 3 really big hitters so far.
I'll say a bit of flavour of the month as well, of course. Caroline Weir.
Of course. I made this a top 10, not a top 8, because Caroline Weir's 10. And she had to be included. So, Caroline Weir, 19 goals for her country.
Like if you're scoring 2 goals in an El Clasico, you're scoring 19 for Scotland. No bother.
What a player. Ballon d'Or nominee.
Townie. Right, where do we go with this? We've still got some more current.
There's one more current. One in the current squad, and then a couple, 2 or 3 more that have... No, 3 or 4 more that have been in recent squads but have recently retired.
I'm happy to be corrected on this, but I think she might have played for Bayern Munich, so I'm going to guess she was quite good.
Oh,
Sam Kerr?
that's a fantastic guess, but no, she doesn't make. She did. I don't think she plays for them anymore. She did play for Bayern Munich.
No, she was at Bayern Munich, yeah, so I thought she
Yeah.
might have scored a few
But
goals from midfield.
she's. But that's Scotland's midfield three: Caroline Weir, Sam Kerr, and Erin Cuthbert. It's not too bad, eh? Not too bad. But no, sorry, she doesn't make it. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
There's two defenders.
Really?
Two recent defenders. One of them, if you want to stick to the Arsenal theme,
Oh.
you will know her. Pundit as well. Done a lot of punditry. And the other one's also appeared doing a bit of punditry as well. And you've seen, I actually think you've seen both of them play live at Hampden. Potentially. You've seen one of them for sure.
Rachel Corson?
Oh, phenomenal shout. Rachel Corsie, yeah. She scored 20 goals. Don't
Really?
know how many appearances, probably about 140.
20.
I think it's well over 100 though, which is mad. It would be interesting to do because there's only one men's player that's got over 100 caps.
Yeah.
But there's a women's player that's got over 200 caps.
100 goals.
Which is fantastic. Well, exactly. So, yes, well done, Rachel Corsie. That leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4 to go.
I'm quite happy.
5 to go.
I'm quite happy I've got 5 so far.
Two of them-
I'm struggling a bit here.
Two of them are a bit difficult.
Is this the reason you were talking to me about the manager of the Afghanistan? Is she on the
Yeah,
list?
she's on the list.
I would like to guess the manager of the Afghanistani women's team.
You're
Whoever that is, because you didn't actually tell me her name.
Pauline Hamill.
Pauline Hamilton.
Correct. No. Pauline Hamill. Well done,
Pauline
Callum.
Hamill,
Well done.
yeah.
That's a fantastic. Yeah, Pauline Hamill. This is fantastic. I don't know too much about Pauline. So, Pauline, if you're watching, which I hope you are, congratulations, because she's 4th in the list. Bit of an all-timer, I think, for the women's team. She scored 29 goals and 141 caps, and she's currently the Afghanistan women's head coach, which is fantastic. This is the kind of stuff I love to find out. Julie Fleeting scored a hat-trick in the Scottish Cup final for Ayr, and Pauline Hamill is the current Afghanistan women's head coach. Brilliant.
Presume I don't get the great Rose Riley, Ballon d'Or winner. She got a goals for Italy.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Which is absolutely disgusting that she's not on this list.
Yeah.
But she's a World Cup winner, so
Ballon d'Or winner, isn't she?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So
Phenomenal. And she's got a pub named after her.
that's the dream.
That's the
dream.
Well, we've got 4 more. Yeah, we've got 4 more.
I think I've used
Tapping
my.
out.
I think I've used my cards. I'll guess Leanne Crichton. You said pundits.
No, it's not Leanne. I don't know how many she scored. I'm sure she scored quite a few, but
I thought she
she
might.
scored in the same game as this defender, gone pundit, gone Arsenal legend did.
I've just had in mind. You're gonna have to tell me
At the World Cup
You're gonna need
against
to-
Argentina in that 3-3 draw. Don't know if you remember the big centre half that
Yeah, no.
her dad's a ex-rugby player.
Name's just
Jen
not clicking.
Beattie.
Jen Beattie. That's the one I should have got as well.
5th in the all-time
That's incredible
scoring list.
from defence. Yeah.
Yeah, 23 goals. Arsenal stalwart. I think she played for maybe Man City as well.
Okay.
Great player. And good pundit too. And that leaves us with 3 more. In second place, so you missed second. This 60 goals. She just pipped Kim Little. Is Jane Ross.
Okay.
Played for Man City, Glasgow City, Man United, West Ham, and then Rangers. She finished her career up at Rangers, so very good
What
strike.
about our skeletons?
And then we have 2 more. We've got at 7th place in the list, Martha Thomas. She's the current Scotland number 9.
All right. Okay.
American accent, Scottish mum, English dad, playing for Tottenham in the WSL. Good player.
What about our skeletons? Eh?
21 goals. And then finishing us off. Now, I do apologise if anybody knows of Linda Brown or is related to Linda Brown, if you're her daughter, her niece, anything, and you're watching
Or
this.
son? Yeah.
Son, yeah, please
Could have a male.
do reach out because she doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
Oh.
So I couldn't.
So tell me this is going to be difficult for the graphic on screen.
Potentially, yeah, you might need to Yeah, if Linda's family, well, you'll have to do the edit before they can.
Got a high resolution picture of it for the TikTok.
But she scored 20 goals, so she's joined 8th on the list. And Linda is a bit of a legend, but unfortunately, there's less of a paper trail for Linda's career than Julie Fleeting and co. So that makes up our top 10 Scottish women's national team international scorers.
Big shout out to Linda,
Yeah.
The Joga Bonita legend. So, predictions. Maybe a chance we might go along to Dunfermline next week.
That would be good,
we can
yeah,
make it. I think we're recording Tuesday next week. We'll try and make it long if we can. Do you think we'll be seeing a few more goals on any of those tallies?
I'd like to hope so. Surely Caroline Muir gets off.
Big game.
Surely the Swiss centre half is paid £100 before the game to half her in the box, but not too much, so she's not injured and she can step up and get a penalty. That would be good. She's got to score at I nearly called it Dens Park, East End Park. I don't really know what to expect. New coach, but it's sort of
I like the sound of it though.
Yeah,
not just her accent. She's got a nice accent as well, but
yeah,
she talks well.
Nice little anecdote where she said that was it last year or 2 years ago. She wrote down that whenever it was, she wrote down that she was going to manage an SWNT.
Scotland women's national team.
Yeah,
that's not what I meant. Yeah.
Which is quite cool.
She meant a senior women's national team.
Yeah.
Did you see her interview with Amy Canavan or?
Yeah, I saw the clip. I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw
good.
and that was quite a nice wee anecdote. And she seems quite forward thinking.
Yeah,
so.
like seems really bright and like full of good ideas.
Yeah.
Like wanting to help personal development of players and stuff like that as well. Seems to be really important to her, and seems like a good woman.
Anyone who's willing to give up Aussie sun for Glasgow rain, gets a win. Is a win in my book.
She's a mother as well. She's a young child. She's brought a family over here as well. That's a big commitment to make, and seems really really good for her. I actually did. I don't know. I told you I did commentary on some Women's Cup finals back in the summer. You might remember.
Yeah.
Like that was brilliant, and I met a lady called Kim that was doing co-commentary with me, and she worked for the Scotland national team, and she was that week actually that can we call her Mel?
Yeah, cool.
We'll call her Mel. Mel got appointed to the job, and she'd be along to meet her, and she said like just meeting her, the vibes. First time meeting her, she just seems like so friendly but passionate, and like cares about. She just seemed to really care about like everyone she met, and like wanted to do a good job of it. It's a different approach for the national team. I think they probably needed a fresh.
Yeah, they did.
Fresh head in charge, to say the least. So,
this is it. They've got the players. They've got Erin Cuthbert, Sam Kerr, Caroline Weir, Martha Thomas. And then they've got the youth coming through, Emma Watson. They've got young blood. They've got Jenna Clark at the back. Come on, Scotland. They've missed the last 3 major tournaments. They need to get to this one.
Imagine both Scotland teams at a World Cup. Would not be bad. Right.
Love it.
There's another big game happening very soon, though. So I've got one more challenge to finish us off on.
Hit me, Callum.
So we're going to save. We've got this big one to save for next week. So we're just going to do a quick, fun challenge, just so we can use it as an excuse to have a very quick chat about the game to finish it off. This weekend, it's a top of the table clash. I don't know what you're thinking. Is it the Old Firm? No, isn't it?
It's not.
It's Hearts Celtic.
It is Hearts, glorious Hearts.
Table-topping Hearts, top of the table. And I'm sure I'd like to say Hearts victory so we can get some pure class videography out of Mr. Luke Maguire.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, obviously Hearts haven't been in a title race for quite some time. What do you think has happened at Hearts behind the scenes? Who's come in behind the scenes that's helped elevate Hearts to where they are now?
If I was
in comparison to previous seasons, Callum.
Well, there's obviously been one figure that's came into the club, and it's been all the talk about the town. Because I'll tell you what's important to me. If I was a football player playing at a club like Hearts, or any club for that matter, I'd come into training and I'd think, another day of hard work, running, endurance. I go in and I see the wee smiley face of Luke Maguire at the side of the pitch. I'd run through brick walls.
Exactly.
Give him that little boost. He's got a lovely smile. He's a lovely lad. If anyone's heard of him on this podcast, obviously I think he's probably the key factor.
I think he was the missing link. Other people have talked about this I don't know, some weird computer thing that's come in and
Well, you knock it.
changed things.
I've
but
actually heard through my sources, I haven't revealed this, that Luke Maguire was actually discovered through Jamestown Analytics. I don't know if you know that or not.
he's got over 3,000 minutes worth of videography footage.
Yeah.
And it was analysed that he was
Yeah, they found it.
user-gated.
It was the kind of thing that you just wouldn't see walking down the street, but they found some of his like hidden stuff.
Yeah.
They'd seen his vlogs and his private Snapchat story and thought, by the way,
They love a disco ball.
this guy's got a bit of talent about him.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
his Instagram stories all look beautiful, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he's gone into Hearts. He's made the difference. A good Hearts result, we might get a nice pitch-side goal from Luke Maguire. Saw the ball swing. I think he had the swinging of the cross for Craig Halkett's finish.
Yeah.
And then a camera on the other side. I don't know whose was who. Anyway, the pre-match stuff,
Brilliant.
everything. Hearts socials, looking brilliant. Luke,
Yeah.
love you, big man.
And it's great. It's great for us because we now know. Look, he's obviously an insider, so we now know who's on Hearts' transfer radar. We know
do.
exactly. Yeah.
We do, yeah.
Interesting. They're looking at Nathan Flanagan and Zach Butterworth, but apparently they rank really highly on their system. So
Used to me. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Thanks for that.
Dylan Easton apparently is useless. No, I'm joking.
Friend of the pod. Careful what you say,
I'm
pal.
only joking. But yeah, sorry, we got a bit distracted there. But Hearts really are, as we were saying, they're flying on and off the park, on social media and off social media, and it'll be a fantastic game at the weekend.
Right, so to celebrate this, Fraser, I'm going to give you 5, I'm going to say all-time strikers that have played for Hearts or Celtic. And I'm going to say all-time. There is some sort of like, not of too much of a modern twist on it, but obviously a bit more of a sort of flavour towards that on this list.
Good, because if I wasn't born, I'm not commenting.
Fraser,
Football started after 2000.
you're going to blind rank these all-time Hearts and Celtic strikers. All right, from 1 to 5. You know how this works. It's a blind ranking. It's pretty simple. Right, the first player you've got up, a bit more of a recent one. First up, a recent one, Moussa Dembele.
This is a bit shite baggy always to go for a 3 with the first one, but I think Mr. Dembele comes in at 3.
Straight down the middle.
Yeah, straight down the middle.
Gotta respect that. Yeah.
Very good striker.
Up next, you've got one a bit close to the heart, Ryan Stevenson.
And he's not better than Mr. Dembele, unfortunately. But I haven't seen Mr. Dembele take the ball from his own half at Somerset Park and slot it and against Ayr Athletic. So on that, I'm sorry, Steve-O, if you're watching, but 5.
Ryan Stevenson, if he is watching, he's got a second teardrop on his face now after hearing that. Right. Up third, another Hearts one, John Robertson.
John Robertson is pretty solid.
The all-timer here for Hearts, really.
Oh, 2 or 4. Does he go in above? Mr. Dembele's kind of fallen off the face of the earth.
You've got one as well.
No, not one.
No, we're talking about Moussa Dembele as a Celtic striker, though, completely.
Okay, so just
at the clubs, yeah.
he was phenomenal. With that in mind, either way, I'm going to have people shouting at me. I'm going to have Gorgie or the East End of Glasgow. Let's go for John Robertson in second.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say, if you put him behind Moussa Dembele, that's harsh. He was very good for Celtic.
Yeah.
For Hearts, sorry. Right, up fourth. Another more recent one. You have Kyogo Furuhashi. I think they called him that. Little Kyogo. His big head of hair.
He actually transformed Scottish football. Is that too?
Did he?
I think
And then he left and he's come back.
No, I know, but he actually did.
Oh, he was a phenomenon. That wee Kyogo.
He was a phenomenon. And he sort of changed the trajectory of Scottish football. Like Rangers started looking at Kevin Muscat after he came in. Or Rangers fans wanted Kevin Muscat. So I'm going to go...
Got 1 and 4.
1 and 4. He's not worse than Moussa Dembele and he's not worse than John Roberts. I'm going to go number 1, Kyogo.
Okay.
The best since Larson.
What are you expecting? Ooh.
Well, that's what Celtic fans say.
No, but you just mentioned the name there. What are you expecting up last day then?
Well, if it is Larson, I'm stuffed. I don't think you'd do that to me though. I think you were hoping that I would backload it in order to have Larson. So you've not done Larson, you're going to give me like...
Hey, I can say whatever name I want right now. You don't have to look at my notebook.
Yes.
I can make this up.
Oh, God.
All right.
You're going to say Larson, aren't you?
Right, your final player. Carl Lafferty. In at 4.
Yeah, that's good. And at 4, yeah, that's fine.
You happy with that?
No,
Oh.
I'm not happy with that. Kyle Lafferty would have gone in at 5. Ryan Stevenson 4.
And the rest are you happy with?
Dembele 3. Robertson 2. And Furuhashi 1.
You've not embarrassed yourself.
No, not
Carl
at all.
Lafferty had some good moments in a Heart shirt.
Yeah, but not better than Ryan Stevenson.
No, but
Kyle
he
Lafferty in a Rangers shirt.
He had some underrated
maybe.
moments in a Heart shirt.
Yeah, fine.
Remember that 4-0 game against Celtic?
But did he? Yeah.
He was phenomenal in that game. He was
That's
phenomenal.
the Harry Cochrane game, not the Kyle Lafferty game.
He was that winger they had. David Milankovic?
Oh, okay, yeah.
His one and only game in a Heart shirt where he was prime. Right.
That was good.
Happy with your list there then. So your final list
Quite
then.
happy, yeah.
You're happy with that. So, big game this weekend. Score prediction for that one as well.
Where is it? Tynecastle?
Tynecastle on Sunday.
2 each.
You like a 2 each,
I
don't
love
you?
a 2 each, yeah. It's best score line in football.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about this one too much. I don't know. I could see any script sort of happening in this game. If you know what I mean, it could go any way. It really could with the way the Hearts play. But Celtic, when they are in a scrap, the ball just seems to drop to them.
Yeah.
I'm not being like producer Jack here giving a big conspiracy. You know what I mean? But they always seem to like win a penalty at the right time because it is a foul and someone's kicked someone in the box. It's not like the lizard people. But at the same time, the way Hearts are going, they're confident. And I think if they score that goal, or even if the game's just going 0-0, that there'll be a bit of a pin in Celtic. The players, the fans, I don't know, something. There'll be a pin in them a little bit. While Hearts, they're going in there with their chests high, full of confidence. I might just tip Hearts for this one.
You're tipping hard.
I might tip Hearts.
That Maroon's getting to your head. I think...
I might say... I'll go bold. I'll say 2-0 to Hearts.
2-0? You don't think Celtic are scoring?
I'm going out there.
To be fair...
I might be wrong. I can see it.
Yeah.
As I said earlier on about Ross County, they might do it. They might not. Celtic could also win the game.
Yeah.
They really could just come and make a bit of a statement.
And they didn't score in Dundee at the weekend, so...
Brendan Rodgers' favourite thing to do is make a statement. Unlike Nottingham Forest, who announced Sean Dyche with some sort of AI written article, or Airdrie, who sacked the manager with 2 sentences, Brendan Rodgers loves making a statement more than anything in the world. He might also turn up and try and lose the game 4-0 to just say the board, like, what's going on, lads? I'm driving a Honda Civic here, but I'm tipping Hearts. I don't know why.
If we look back to last season, what happened at the start of last season, Callum? The upstarts, Aberdeen, thought they could go and win the league, and they had a brilliant start to the season, and they were going to compete. In Celtic, they were all scared, and they played Aberdeen. They drew 2 each. Was it 2 each? It was, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Getting a bit cocky here saying that. 2 each. I can see this happening all over again. Celtic going, they've got this team that's challenging them, that's not Rangers. They're a little bit shocked, not expecting it from a team out with Glasgow. And they'll have their feathers ruffled. I think it'll be an entertaining end-to-end 2-2 draw.
I'm just going with Hearts. They've got the wind in their sails, and that's what's giving me a little tip. Where Celtic are just a bit, things get a little bit toxic when things aren't going too well in their games recently. Not to say I think Celtic will still win the league, but I'm going to give Hearts this one, and I think they're going to get a bit overexcited. 8 points clear at the top.
To be fair,
would be something come Sunday evening. Right, Fraser, much on this weekend?
What am I doing this weekend? A few things.
Probably not. No. Things you can't disclose.
My pal's having a leaving party at his house.
What's he leaving?
He's the country.
Oh, right.
At his flat, sorry, he's moving to Australia, so...
Is it Ange?
Ange, yeah.
Oh, no, it's your pal, Ange Postecoglou.
Oh, sorry, yeah. It's in Nottingham, yeah.
Mr. Marinakis has, organised the party, yeah.
I thought Mr. Marinakis had eaten Ange, or Ange had eaten Mr. Marinakis, I'm not sure.
Goodness.
But yeah, I've got that. I thought it was going to be a big, 50 people party. Turns out it was just a wee intimate.
Okay, you're in the intimate circle, aren't you?
10 of us. But it'll be nice.
Lovely.
It'll be nice and civilised. We're all old. We're all pushing 30 now, so...
Behaving yourself.
We'll probably have a cup of tea and discuss the political state of the world right now, and maybe play, I don't know, Scabby Queen and then go home, tucked up in bed by 10:30.
Sounds like a good evening.
Probably how it's going to go, but we'll see. And then apart from that, just chilling, bro. You?
Raith Rovers, Partick Thistle. Partick Thistle.
Partick Thistle, boing.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. It's going to be a tough game, but Raith could do with a result. I'd love nothing more than for us to win it. And I've got my first ever night out in Dundee.
Oh,
So
nice.
One of my friends has moved there recently, so he's
Lovely.
taking us out. He lives, I don't want to give away his exact address, but he lives somewhat near a restaurant called Black Mamba. When I was asked for parking, he said, look up a restaurant called Black Mamba.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So
Is that Kobe Bryant, who's Black Mamba?
yeah, Kobe goes by that. That's,
Kobe,
that's
yeah.
a bit snake as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Kobe, rest in peace.
Yeah,
Kobe,
yeah,
of course. If there's one thing we remember at the end of this podcast is believe in hearts, unlike you, and rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah.
So
Very, very basketball themed week this week.
it's been 2 whole comments about basketball. Great, we're out of control, man.
Yeah.
Right, Fraser,
Pleasure.
anything more to add?
Not a lot, to be honest. I think we've added quite a lot.
That's the worst handshake anyone's ever given anyone.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram or TikTok? Rob Colfer, his name is.
No.
He goes to like the posh places in England and he says to posh people like, what's the poshest part about this town? And then he go, oh, I don't know, maybe the Land Rovers. And then she'll go, but I drive a Land Rover. And he's like, and then he goes to like, come here, hand. He goes to like high fives them and then he does that. And then they look dead confused. It's good content.
It doesn't sound that entertaining, but I feel like I've worked it out.
I enjoy it every time actually. It's quite
Okay, I'll
so
shout out to them and EH Retro Kids.
yeah, good point.
That's the way to finish off this episode, yeah. Shout
Fergie
out.
time. It's actually not Fergie time tonight. He's starting on the bench. It's Fergie's time to chill and relax.
Well, I think this podcast is deep into Fergie time now in terms of Alex Ferguson. So I think that's our cue to wrap it up. Back next week. Hopefully we've got a guest with us next week as well. And a returning guest.
A normal guest.
Returning guest
Yeah.
co-host. So looking forward to that one, Fraser.
No big signings. No Black Mamba or anything.
No Black Mamba's joining up. See what I can find in Dundee. You never know. Fraser, until next week then. Hopefully I don't have to speak to you a second before then.
Yes, been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. And we'll see you guys then as well.
Yeah.
Final words?
Don't go changing.
Don't go changing, yeah. That works.
Yeah, we'll go with that.